2-1 on the season, and the Sierra Wolverines, 1-2, but coming off of their first victory. We've also got working with us today Mr. Oscar Martinez on the camera work and Max Agris at the controls. Everything all set here as Sierra is getting ready to kick off and get us underway. DVC with a pair of players deep. So Joseph Mintmeyer ready to put the kick into the air and get us underway. Here we go. Back for the Vikings. We've got Antoine Prose, also John Giajari III, and he's the one to take it. Cutting his way across the field now. Needs to try to get vertical, working his way to the 20. Here comes a tackle in from the number 26. And is Calvin Robinson, backup running back, and also apparently special team speed demon, able to chase down Giajari. DVC is going to get their first drive started at the 25-yard line. DVC partial to a pistol offense, hardly ever take a snap from under center. We'll see if that's exactly how they're going to start here. Indeed, although two backs with him. One of those is Dom Dominguez, though, wide receiver, so we'll see if he's going to be in motion out. Sturgis Kofer over to the left. There goes Dominguez. Three receivers now on the right side. Here comes our first snap. That pass deflected at the line of scrimmage by the number 56. That is Tyree Jenkins for Sierra College, and that's going to go incomplete.
Roman Sahagan was the intended receiver for the Vikings, but he could not get it as it was tipped at the line.
And good active hands. If you can't get to the passer, you get your hands up. Four-man front for Sierra. Graham again in the pistol. Three receivers to the left side at the top of your screen, but the give is up the middle to Tyrell Sturgis Kofer. He's going to work his way to the 30-yard line. Cut that target in half. 2nd and 5 here, excuse me, 3rd and 5 rather.
He had a nice hole to start, but as the hole collapsed, he was not able to find his way through. And only 5 yards, but a good start for them. And 3rd down will be interesting to see what we go with right now.
And certainly a lot of 3rd and longs against Sacramento City last week. We'll talk a little more about that game as this one continues. So 3rd and 5, a great deal more inviting. Three receivers up at the top of your screen. It's going to be a bit of a roll here, and good penetration from Angel Hernandez, who's going to wrap up Sturgis Kofer and take those 5 yards right back. So the opening DVC drive looks to be a 3 and out.
The Vikings look to go with the draw on their 3rd down and 5 play, but it was stuffed, and there were guys in the backfield right away for Sierra College.
Yeah, no real chance there. So it's going to be 4th and 9, and that's going to bring out the DVC punter, Christopher Abbas, who at least the last couple of weeks has been taking care of both duties, punting and kicking. Had a great game against Feather River, tying field goal in the 4th quarter, and then about a minute later after a DVC block punt managed to knock home the game winner. That one is going to put Traquan Jones at his own 34-yard line. He tries to work it out to the right side, briefly breaks a tackle, and is now dragged down. About an 8-yard pickup for him, and that's where Sierra is going to start their first drive. Juwan Brown on the stop for DVC. Now the Sierra offense is a spread offense, a little bit different of an attack from what you guys might have seen last time we were here on the Viking Sports Network. Actually a little bit like looking into a mirror. So they'll start out here with Preston Eklund, the 6'2", 195 sophomore out of Whitney in Rockland. I was about to say under center, but not at all, in the pistol. Accompanied there by Graylin Lindsay. The handoff is to him over to the right side, and he's going to scoot through a couple of tacklers, works his way to the 40, all the way down now to the 33 as he's finally pushed out of bounds by DVC's number 23.
He had a great hole, and he took it to the outside and made it all the way almost to the 30, and Sierra is in business moving down the field so far at the 36.
It was Jerome Davison on the stop, but yes, big yardage right out of the gate here for Sierra College. Graylin Lindsay definitely the big play threat for them. He had 4 touchdowns on 9 touches last week against West Hills. We're going to go with a short pitch. This one gobbled up immediately by the DVC defense.
A flag on the play.
Joshua Farr on the end around, unable to do very much with it, but let's see if it was legal. And so despite the chop block penalty, actually everything's going to be moving back anyway. DVC able to stop the play in the first place. But they'll take the yardage in this case instead of the down. They're going to annul quite a bit of what Graylin Lindsay did. It's going to be 2nd and 25, just a yard to the happy side of midfield.
Sierra set up 5 wide right now, so looking for a pass to get a good first down play right here.
An empty backfield. Only way they're going to run is if it's on an end around. DVC themselves packing the line. Fatalale and Moga Clements both showing blitz. Moga Clements gets to the passer and gets enough on him to prevent him from putting that pass on the mark. Graylin Lindsay wide open.
Right through his hands.
Lindsay's 4 touchdowns last week. One of them was through the air. The other 3 were on a bunch of long runs, 18, 37, and 63 for his season long.
DVC had great pressure there, and they're going to continue to have to do that if they're going to go and spread.
Four wide this time, 2 on either side. Moga Clements again crowding the line along with Fatalale. They back off this time around. It's a handoff to Lindsay to the right. Let's see if they can stop it this time. They get some bodies to him. Finally swallowed up by Ravin Nasilai. It's going to be good for a gain of about 4. So that'll make it 3rd and 21. Third and 23 instead, my mistake. Sierra with the ball at the DVC 47-yard line, looking for a big chunk of yardage. Eklund back to pass. He's going to go short for LJ Nelson. Nelson scooting around a block from Lindsay, but a nice tackle there. DVC's 24 there. Ronnie Preston there getting to that and briefly thought he might have knocked the ball loose.
And Sierra will look to punt here as they got into the DVC zone, but they will not be able to get a first down, and Vikings will get the ball back.
They're going to be buried a little bit deep, and the Vikings certainly had some issues last week getting themselves stuck deep in their own territory. More or less owned time of possession in that game, had a great defensive showing through 3 quarters, but unable to close the deal. Back on this one is Antoine Prose, former track star here at DVC. He'll be waiting for this. Gets out of the way. It's going to take a happy Sierra bounce, but maybe too happy. Did LJ Nelson manage to keep that out of the end zone? Going to see what our referee has to say. Oh, mercy.
The ball will be on the 1 for their Vikings' 2nd drive of the game.
Borderline decision. That thing picked up speed on the initial bounce. I thought for a second it was going to find its way into the happy confines of the end zone and get DVC out of the shadows of their own goalpost, but no dice.
A very nice play by the special teams for Sierra College, pushing the Vikings back, and it'll be interesting to see what they do to get out of their own end zone.
Ball downed by a rather versatile player. Jake Knapp plays a little on defense, a little on special teams. He's also their 3rd-string quarterback. 2 receivers to either side here for Dylan Graham. Fakes the pass. Now he's going up top looking for the run of, is that Dominguez over there on the far side? No, Roman Sahagan, the number 10.
Interesting play call to get him out of the end zone with a pass on their 1-yard line, but no play for the Vikings as they go incomplete pass.
Worked like a charm last week on a couple of occasions to keep them from having to punt from back here, but no such luck there. Dom Dominguez in particular was the one I thought they might be targeting with that. He had a couple of long catches against Sacramento City. Trips to the left side. Sturgis Kofor just to the right of Dylan Graham in the pistol. It's a snap. The give is to Sturgis Kofor, wrapped up inside the end zone. He's going to strain to work his way out. Held by Joshua Cannon, but not able to keep him inside the end zone.
Forward progress will keep him on the 1-yard line, it looks like.
They seem to have an injured Sierra Wolverine at the moment and a timeout for that. We'll take the opportunity here to take a pause ourselves here on the Viking Sports Network. 10:20 left in the first quarter. No score just yet. So back here at Viking Stadium, an injury timeout continuing here, a lengthy delay. It's the number 7 for the Sierra defense. That is Tyler Pearson Visser, the 6'1", 200-pound sophomore out of Rocky Mountain, Meridian, Idaho native, on the deck at the goal line. The trainer's still tending to him. We don't want to speculate on the injury, but clearly not a minor bump at this moment. So we're going to continue to stay out here on timeout for the time being. We'll rejoin you in a few moments, hopefully, when the game continues. Again, no score, 10:20 left in the first quarter. Tyler Pearson Visser of Sierra College leaving on the stretcher, an apparent leg injury. Again, can't speculate as to the exact nature, but Aircast brought out for him, and they're going to take him to get medical attention at this point. We're about ready to get started again here at Vikings Field. 3rd and 10. Vikings still buried back down at their 1 yard, actually the 2-yard line, it appears now. So make it 3rd and 9 instead.
After the length of the delay, it'll be interesting to see what the Vikings go for on this 3rd down.
As they come out with 3 receivers on the far side. Sturgis Kofer also on the far side, just over to the left of Dylan Graham in the pistol. Sounded like an extra whistle there. Distracted Graham for a moment, but he takes the snap now at hip height. Good protection, but nobody in that area of the field as he throws away at the 25, so at least sparing any concerns about the safety. That'll bring up another punt for the Vikings, a pair of 3 and outs so far. Oh, late flag coming in.
Intentional grounding.
Apparently a discussion about that. An intentional grounding in the end zone.
Safety.
And that's going to be 2 points for Sierra. Their season actually started with a safety against City College of San Francisco, and that's how they get on the board here. 2-0, 10:05 in, and DVC will be punting it back to the Wolverines.
Not the start the Vikings wanted today, but it's only 2 points, and the Vikings can still get it with just one score.
Absolutely. And at the very least gets them out from the shadows of their own goalposts for a little bit here. We'll see if they get better field position as they attempt to get the ball back after this upcoming punt.
It can be a punt or a kick.
So the injury to Pearson Visser. We'll also take a look at the DVC injury report at this point. Cornerback Matthew Lark's out 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring. That definitely hurts DVC's secondary depth. He's your starting right cornerback. And so the dime is going to suffer in particular on that. They're also without cornerback Jonathan Lambert, defensive lineman Damian Banford with a concussion, and linebacker Kalana Latorre Holt out 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL sprain. So DVC dealing with their own wounded as well. So I've been corrected by Max Agris here. They do have the option of kicking off the tee after a safety. Although the ball doesn't seem to be cooperating right now. So Christopher Abbas will put this in. Mentioned before, Abbas with a pair of late field goals against Feather River College. He's 3 for 6 on the season on field goals, has a long of 40. He'll put this one into play, giving it back to Sierra after the safety. Back to take it, number 25, Hayden Fay, recovers it at his 22-yard line, worms his way through a couple of DVC defenders, now pretty well wrapped up and thrown to the ground. Tackled by the number 16. It's Dwayne Alatini, linebacker and special teams maven. Face mask on the kicking team there, so Sierra are going to be marching backwards as well. A few pretty big penalties so far called against Sierra. So all of Hayden Fay's work goes for naught. They're going to start their drive at their own 27 now. 2 receivers to each side. Matt Smart, very frequently targeted down there at the bottom of your screen. One man back is Graylin Lindsay. Preston Eklund in the pistol. He's going deep. That long ball into coverage. Knocked away by DVC's number 6. It's Daryl Walker, the nickel cornerback.
Right through his hands, but a very nice play for the Vikings on their second defensive drive.
And now DVC with a player down. That's Antoine Tanner, 6-foot sophomore out of Antioch.
DVC player being attended to is number 21, Antoine Tanner.
Eklund went into double coverage, and the Vikings had it covered up. Very nice play to start off the drive for the Vikings defense.
Yeah, attempting to question the sanity of that pass at this time. Certainly looking for the big hit. DVC against West Hills. I had a chance to watch that game in a little bit of detail, and they were 1 for 11 passing with 2 interceptions for any of their passes past 15 yards. Zane Cribb, in particular, somebody who swallowed up a lot of opportunities for DVC. So unclear how long this delay might be, so we will also take a break here. 9:50 to go in the first quarter. 2-0. Baseball score here between Sierra and DVC. Antoine Tanner off the field under his own power. We get ready to restart here. 2nd and 10 from the Sierra 27-yard line. Preston Eklund just a moment ago throwing into double coverage and risking giving DVC their 8th interception of the season. Eklund with one beside him, Graylin Lindsay. 3 receivers at the near side. It's going to be a handoff to Graylin Lindsay going to the right side, picking his way through a couple of DVC defenders there, at long last taken down by Devin Thomas, the number 44 there at the end of that tackle. Oh, my mistake, 26. That's Calvin Robinson coming into the game. We've yet to see the starter in name, at least Christian Simmons. I think I see him on the sideline, but we have not yet seen him in action. So Calvin Robinson in play, not the 20, but the 26. He remains back there, 4 wideouts, 2 to either side for Preston Eklund. Takes the snap. Good blitz pick up there by Robinson, but the throw is high. Amani Kareem targeted on that one.
A great stop by the DVC defense, and they will get the ball back.
Exactly what you're hoping for out of the safety. Have a nice, strong defensive stand and get a bit better field position this time around. The punt will be coming from about 15 yards further back. It is Dominic Dominguez back to receive this. The punt to come from Joseph Mintmeyer. Mintmeyer averaging a little under 35 yards a punt. He buried the Vikings on the first opportunity he got. Only the 2nd punt he's put inside the 20-yard line this season. This one is not going to get to the 20. Dominguez steps up, waves for a fair catch. Unable to get to it, though, and Sierra is going to be penalized, it appears, for interfering with his right to a fair catch. Ball down at the 32, but it's going to come forward.
Ball is at the 32 currently.
About to hear from our referee, James Decker.
I believe it's going to be kicker catch interference.
Oh, that is not at all what we were expecting. Thought we were going to see a call for interference that was going to give DVC some extra yardage, and instead, shot in the foot with another penalty. And penalties were very much the story of the 4th quarter against Sacramento City in DVC's loss last week. One penalty that dragged them well back during a promising drive, and another one that extended what turned out to be Sacramento City's first scoring drive. DVC looking to build, but they're going to have to start from back inside their own 20. 17-yard line, 1st and 10. Dominguez in motion from right to left. Graham passing. He's going to throw it to the right side, and Colin, did you get a good look at that? Was that the turf monster, or was there any contact there?
I do not believe there was any contact. It looked like Roman Sahagan just fell over.
Those bright green cleats, unfortunately not quite gripping the Vikings field turf well enough, and Sahagan to the deck, 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer in the backfield here with Graham. 2 receivers to either side. Dominguez in the slot on the right. It's going to be a handoff to Sturgis-Kofer, picking his way through a couple defenders. He's going to work his way and rumble down to the 24. It's a manageable 3rd down now, 3rd and 4.
A great hole was made for him, and he hit it. Gets him in great field position for this 3rd down.
Another player down, Amir Murray, number 5. He popped back to his feet for a moment, and now back on the ground in a great deal of discomfort. Helmet off. And again, the medical staff is going to have to come out. He keeps trying to get back to his feet. Whatever injury has happened to his left leg is too much for him to put his weight on. So the staff is going to come out, and a 3rd injury timeout here in our 1st quarter. 8:34 to go, 2-0 Sierra. Live action again here at Vikings Field. 3rd and 4 for DVC after Amir Murray has left the field. Another injury here in today's game, but 3 receivers at the bottom of your screen. Sturgis Kofer behind Dylan Graham. The handoff is to Sturgis Kofer, trying to work his way to the 29, stacked up. Excuse me, the 25 rather. He's not going to make his way to the first down marker, about 2 yards short, and DVC with a 3rd consecutive 3-and-out to get our game started today.
The offense is coming off the field, and the DVC punt team is entering back on.
So that'll bring Christopher Abbas back out.
25, Christopher Abbas, now in the game.
Traquan Jones, just 1 return coming into today's game for 10 yards. Whole bunch of free catches.
Traquan Jones, number 13, is deep for the Wolverines.
5'11", 210 freshman out of Capital Christian, back to take this kick. Good rush, and they've blocked it. The number 23, both with the block and the recovery at the 10-yard line. That is Peyton Early. It's a trio of Sierra Wolverines that arrived there at the kicker, and we're at least hearing from Shappy behind us here. He thinks it's Jose Zanudo, freshman out of Pioneer, came away with that block. The ball at the 11-yard line now.
Sierra brought the pressure, and it sets them up great for their next drive.
Indeed. Hard to find friendlier field position than the DVC 11. Eklund coming back out. He's got 3 receivers wide to the right. Now Christian Simmons in for his first action of today's game. And he will get the ball right away, trying to rumble behind the right guard. Brandon Fatalale helping out with the final wrap-up, but I think it's Dion Falau originally on the tackle.
Sierra tried to spread it out and run away from where the receivers were all lined up at, but DVC stuffed him right in the middle. Nice play on defense.
The Vikings being such a great team in terms of their pass defense. Oh, flag before anything else gets started. A false start apparently before anybody had actually set up. Snap infraction called here. That's going to move it back to the 15.
Looks like the center moved the ball a little bit too much before they got into the set, hence why the flag was thrown.
A little bit of fury at the moment of that call from Chad Bagwell. Two receivers to either side for Preston Eklund. Drops back to pass, short ball to Matt Smart, who is blasted there by the number 30.
Looks like another flag is on the play.
We certainly are a little nervous about a targeting call potentially for Isaiah Lutu-Sue-Sue. And did have the look of potential head-to-head contact.
DVC read the screen very nicely. They were bringing the pressure, but they all held back and made the nice play on the wide receiver screen.
Yeah, tough to split the difference there between the aggression and the care. Not leave yourself ready to be discovered. Long conversation between the officials. Here comes the call from Mr. Decker. That is a targeting call, and Isaiah Lutu-Sue-Sue, a 6', 246 freshman out of Pittsburgh, is not going to be participating in any more of tonight's action. Here, Darrell Walker had him largely wrapped up, and Lutu-Sue-Sue came in to lower the hammer and try to finish the play, but ends up making contact helmet to helmet. DVC looking now to load up the line. But the other bit of collateral damage on that is the 1st and goal now.
First and goal from the 8.
Certainly the least spread out that the spread offense has looked. In fact, appears to be the wildcat right now. Christian Simmons ready to take the snap with Eklund off the field. Fay out to the left side. He goes in motion to the right. They fake the handoff to him, and the pressure comes up the middle from Ativa Moga Clements, and he chases down Simmons in the backfield for a loss of 4.
A blitz from the outside of the defense, and it was a great tackle, great play by the DVC defense. Sets up a nice 2nd and down.
Now the nickel package back on for DVC. Tanner Cooper and Darrell Walker entering the game. And Sierra, no longer within 10 yards of the end zone, go right back to their spread offense. And Smart, Farr, and Kareem on the left side. Sierra with a preference to go that direction. That is exactly where Eklund's going, and wide open. A blown coverage there in the middle of the secondary, and the touchdown pass to Amani Kareem.
With the reception, number 17, Amani Kareem.
6'2" sophomore out of Modesto Christian with his first touchdown of the season on just his 3rd catch.
Looks like the deep safety for the DVC defense came up and bit on the fake and left the Sierra wide receiver wide open in the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah, just a little pitch and catch right there from Preston Eklund. It's his 8th touchdown on the season against 3 interceptions. The extra point to come here from Kenyon Boyer. Good snap, good hold, kick is up, and drilled through the uprights. So Sierra with that extend their lead to 9-0. We'll take a short break as they set up for the next kickoff. You're watching the Viking Sports Network on YouTube. Chris Miles and Antoine Prose back to take the kickoff coming from Kenyon Boyer in just a moment. As DVC look to get their first down of today's game, a trio of 3 and outs and a safety up to this point. Neat little bit of choreography here. Boyer boots this, and waiting for it is Miles. Takes it at his own 6. Working from the left side, now cuts it towards the sideline, looking for space. Tackled at the 26, it would appear.
Chris Miles, 18 on the return.
Brought down there again by Jake Knapp, who has been all over the place. He's the one responsible for downing that punt inside the DVC 1 earlier. Now gets himself a special teams tackle. Suppose when you're 3rd on the quarterback depth chart, you got to find any way you can to get on the field, right?
Another penalty.
5 yards added on, this time going DVC's way. So that's going to put them at their own 31 to get things started here. 5:27 left in our first quarter, 9-0 Sierra leading. DVC looking for their first signs of life from the offense. Dylan Graham with an empty backfield. He's looking up top for Antoine Prose. Manages to get under his cover man. That is Jorge Moreno. Makes the catch at the 43. Pickup of 26 on the long parabola, descending from the heavens into the hands of DVC's number 2.
Sierra had one deep safety leaving their corners in man-to-man coverage. Led Prose to the nice catch.
A nice bit of work there, too, just to have eyes on the ball. That thing was way up in the air. The cornerback there, Jorge Moreno, had continued his run, and Prose just came to a stop, used his body to block him off. Was able to get under it and make the catch. 2 in the backfield for Dylan Graham. Takes the snap, drops the snap, and is blasted by number 45 there. It's Gabe Thomas coming off the right side. Referees having another conversation here. I don't know if this is about the spot or about another potential infraction.
Looks like they could be calling another flag right here.
And indeed, a late hit. DVC are going to get 15 more yards tacked on. The discussion up here in the press box is that it seems that by rule, Dylan Graham should have been considered down at that point. As soon as he picked up the ball, still had a knee down, and then Thomas came through and blew him up. So the 15-yard penalty puts DVC now in Sierra territory for the first time today. At the 33. 2 in the backfield. Graham, quick pass on the out. Another hard hit absorbed here after the catch by Dylan Alves. Does well to work his way inside the red zone down to the 18.
Nice little out route by Alves. Found a little crease. Hit it. First down, Vikings.
Make it the 20. DVC perhaps 3 inches outside the red zone.
Good to see some ball movement from this DVC Vikings offense.
Alves, the sophomore out of Walnut Creek. That's his 6th catch on the season. 42 yards coming in. A little more to add to that total. 1st and 10 from the 20. 2 in the backfield and another fumbled snap. This time it appears that Sierra has gotten themselves on top of it, waiting for the signal from Mr. Decker in the center.
Back to DVC.
They've managed to fall on that fumble and maintain possession. It's going to be a loss of 10. 9 make it all the way back to the 29-yard line.
A ton of Sierra players were surrounded on the ball, but it looked like a DVC Vikings receiver jumped in at the end and came out with the ball.
Good group pursuit of the bounding ball. You would imagine going forward here, DVC is going to have to be a little bit prepared for those errant snaps.
Yep.
Get 2 of them in the first quarter. Almost has to become part of your game planning. Empty backfield for Graham. So he needs to get this one. Good snap this time. Going deep up the right side on the circle route for Pros. Diving. Good coverage there by Moreno. And Pros not able to haul it in at the goal line, so that'll make it 3rd and 19. And now the question is, do you go for the first, or do you try to pick up about 5 to 10 yards and make this a makeable kick for Christopher Abbas?
3rd and 19 coming up.
More man-to-man coverage on the outside for the Sierra defense, but this time the Vikings not catch the ball.
For those wondering, Abbas is long for his DVC career, 40 yards, so they would need about another 6 right now to get into that zone. 3 receivers to the right. Empty backfield here for Dylan Graham. Takes the snap, passing to the left side, and short arms it, looking for Dom Dominguez over there. That's going to bring up 4th down.
Graham got hammered again after he threw the ball.
And Abbas is coming out. Now, of course, he takes care of both duties. He's both your place kicker and your field goal kicker. But more importantly, Roman Sahagan coming out, and it appears that they're going to take a shot at a field goal here. So this would be a new career long.
$51 yards.
Make it 47.
Oh,
Going to be
yeah.
a 47-yard attempt here. Sahagan will have the hold. Joseph Wells the snap, holds good. Here's the ball. Does it have the legs? It does not, and it's taken inside the end zone. Claimed there by the number 4. Working his way to the 30-yard line, having dreams of the Auburn touchdown, but will not get quite that far. It was Ian Moore, the cornerback, who was back there in case it came up short, and indeed it did. So with 3:07 left, 9-0 remains our score. Abbas not quite with enough leg to put that one through.
A clever play by the Sierra special teams to get him in good field position. Good return. Sets him up well for their next drive.
It's actually a little funny because it's kind of much ado about nothing. In fact, if they had just let it go out of play, they would have started at the 37 instead.
First down play coming up.
That's called gambling with house money, I suppose, at that point. One in the backfield. I think Graylin Lindsay, although the 0 and 6 look awfully similar from up here. In motion to the right side is Amoni Kareem. The flea flicker back to Eklund. Long ball up the center. That's caught by Joshua Farr. He's got a step, but diving to make the tackle for DVC is Teontre Pierce. And sparing the blushes on the trick play.
The DVC secondary bit on the run, but the nice flea flicker play sets up Sierra very nicely.
48 yards on the completion to Joshua Farr. The sophomore out of Jesuit. Handoff is up the middle, this time to Graylin Lindsay. Zane Cribb on the tackle, the 32 for DVC. Excuse me, Dion Falau, my mistake. Cribb is 31, and he's in the backfield. Moving the deep threat far over to the right side. Two receivers on each side of Preston Eklund. Graylin Lindsay to his right. Vikings stacking the box right now, I think expecting a run. It is not coming. Graylin Lindsay goes out to the right side. Eklund looking for the right pylon. Overthrows Farr this time around. Good coverage for DVC from Tanner Cooper. That'll bring up third down.
Great pressure and great coverage by the DVC defense.
Christian Simmons cycles in here for Sierra. Again, two receivers to either side. Vikings with every defender within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Eklund takes a snap, three-step drop, throwing deep over the center, nobody there. And that'll bring up fourth down. The ball in the red zone. We'll see if they have any faith in Kenyon Boyer, their kicker. It does appear so, and they're going to try and make this 12-0 here. 2 minutes and 7 seconds left in our first quarter.
Zane Cribb from the safety position moved up and put on great pressure, forcing the errant throw into the end zone.
So will be Boyer on to attempt a 35-yard kick. Lines this up with Farr, the holder. Good snap, good hold. That ball's got plenty of leg, but it's wide to the left side. So DVC is spared here with 2 minutes left in the first. It stays 9-0, and the Vikings are going to get the ball back.
First and 10, 2:01 remaining in the first. 9-0. SC over DVC.
Ball's on 19.
DVC to this point struggling a bit to get themselves moving on the offensive end. We saw a little bit more out of that last drive. Anything you like about what you were seeing there, Colin, that helped them get the ball moving at long last?
I think the movement at the wide receiver position, they're getting guys open, but, I mean, the flags shoot him in the foot and the fumbles shoot him in the foot.
Absolutely. He'll get you every time. Sturgis Kofer in the backfield this time. He's going to work it 5 yards forward to the 25. Tackle made there by Gabe Thomas for Sierra. Ball actually out to the 26. So that'll bring up 2nd and 4.
The two things that shoot you in the foot the most are penalties and turnovers, and they weren't able to hold on to the ball. Good thing they kept it to themselves, but that will hurt.
Indeed. One of the remarkable statistics so far, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think DVC has turned the ball over yet this season, unless you count the safety. Certainly tried to twice there. Dylan Graham going for the short pass, but it's in the dirt. I think it may have been hauled in, and it might have been better off to just let it hit the turf there by Roman Sahagan. It's going to come up as a loss of about 2 feet. So we heard from Coach Dar that the Vikings were expecting Sierra to throw a lot of pressure at this young offensive line. It seems to be getting at least a little bit in Dylan Graham's head. We've seen a couple of throws short-armed. 2 in the backfield. 1 man in the slot is Dylan Alves to the right side. Snap taken, looking to pass. Good pressure from Hernandez, but he's going to find the open man on the left side. It's Dom Dominguez with his first catch today. Picks his way down to the 38, first down, DVC.
Number 17, Dominic Dominguez.
Graham had his guys. The guy that he wanted to throw to wasn't there. Turn around, throw it right to Dominguez. First down, Vikings.
Beautiful job working through his progressions.
And he stood in there in the pressure, too, which is very vital with the Sierra defense bringing a lot of pressure today.
So maybe I should call him out more for having the defenders getting in his head. He seems determined to prove me wrong on that one. Play clock ticking down, so likely be the last play of the first quarter unless it is an incomplete pass. Trips left for DVC in an empty backfield. Putting Hamilton in motion, and here comes the pass to him, nearly overthrown, and that's going to cause him to arrest his forward momentum and give Sierra a chance to catch up. Gang tackled there by the combination of Joshua Cannon, Jorge Moreno, and a couple of their friends. So that's going to take care of quarter number 1 for us. DVC looking to get a drive going. They're going to have a little bit of rebuilding to do after that screen pass when we come back. 9-0, Sierra leading on the Vikings Sports Network.
Diablo Valley College is your door to opportunity. In an environment where the workforce landscape has changed, more opportunity equals more success. Today, trained, educated workers are in high demand. From skilled laborers to healthcare professionals, DVC can help you get there. Diablo Valley College is one of the top career training education programs. Diablo Valley College. Diablo Valley College.
Back to live action here, 2nd and 14 from the DVC 34. Vikings looking to chop up a little of this and make third down a little more manageable. Empty backfield, 3 receivers to Graham's right. Looking for the short pass, he's going to find Dom Dominguez, pops it up, somehow makes the catch, an absolute circus grab at the 40. How many times did he touch that before he finally secured it with one hand at the point of the football?
That ball seemed to be in the air for the longest time, but he comes down with one hand. Nice catch right near the sideline.
Well, however long it felt like it was in the air for us, I guarantee it felt about 3 times as long for Dominic Dominguez. Somehow hauls that in. Dominguez going over into the slot on the right side, trips on that side. The lone receiver at the bottom of your screen, Roman Sahagan. Sturgis Kofer behind Graham in the pistol. 3rd and 9. Graham back to pass, decent protection, escapes the pressure. Now he's going to try to run. It's a foot race that he is not going to win with Clayton McCauley. And he is down at the 42. Pickup of 3 yards, but that is not what they needed. So that'll bring out the punt team. Christopher Abbas looking to uncork one and bury Sierra as deeply as they can.
Sierra defense bringing the pressure again. This time they finally got to Graham. Forces him out of the pocket. Can't get the first down.
And mobility certainly not at the top of the list of Graham's positive qualities, but showed a decent bit of it right there.
See if Sierra brings more pressure.
Certainly worked the last time. And it's a fake. Ball over to the number 33. It's Ravin Nasalai, and he's going to come up just a yard short of the first down.
I love the play call and the aggressiveness by the special teams of Diablo Valley College, but comes up short.
puts unfortunate thoughts of the 1 yard short play as well last week. Dylan Alves was hit for a pass on 4th and 17, but it was just a little bit low, forced him to dive for it back then. And he came up short 1 yard on a play that could have extended DVC's final drive. So that'll give it back to Sierra. Christian Simmons back into the backfield for the Wolverines. 2 receivers to either side. It's Farr and Nelson down here on the near side. Fatalale and Malga Clements trying to show a little bit of blitz there. They're going to roll this out to the left side, a design rollout, thrown over toward the sideline, trying to keep his feet in play is Amoni Kareem, but he's unable to. So that'll make it 2nd and 10 from the 47.
DVC continues to get pressure on the quarterback, something they have done not in the beginning of the first quarter, but they got it at the end of the first quarter, and now here at the beginning of the second quarter.
So from the right hash mark, 2 receivers to either side. We promised you a spread offense. Here is a spread offense. Kareem in motion, and they're going to run behind the motion. Christian Simmons coughs up the ball, and it's going to be
Ronnie Preston.
Ronnie Preston. My mind went briefly blank on the name there. I got too excited. Ronnie Preston, the fumble recovery, DVC, with their 2nd fumble recovery and 9th turnover total of the season. I was talking with one of the soccer coaches yesterday about the idea of a productive turnover, and this thought of dumping a ball down to an attacker who may not end up getting to that ball initially, but then you hassle him for a little while, maybe force a turnover out of the defense, and you're in a better position. DVC just did the American football version of that, I think. The aggression on the punt, and the defense likes that. That shows trust in your defense. 5 receivers set. Dylan Graham under pressure again up the gut. Backpedaling. Now throwing to the left side, and he's got his man. Dominic Dominguez inside the 40. A big first down to start the drive for the Vikings.
Graham evaded pressure that time. Finds the open receiver. Takes his time. Deep breath. Nice pass. First down Vikings. Love to see it.
We'll start this one at the 38-yard line now.
They look to be getting movement now, and it's nice to see. They weren't getting movement at the beginning of the first couple drives.
1 in the backfield for the Vikings. Handoff there to 39. That's Desmond Tanavasa. Picks up about 3 yards, rumbling, stumbling. Tanavasa, that's his 5th carry of the season. Opportunity for Sturgis, Kofer, and Williams to get a quick break. It'll be 2nd and 6 here from the 35-yard line. Ball at the left hash mark. 3 receivers up at the top of your screen. Dominguez, Alves, and Hamilton. Giajari by himself here at the bottom. Tanavasa still in the backfield with Graham. Take the snap. Again, it's a handoff straight up the gut to Tanavasa. He'll pick up another 3. And that's going to make it 3rd and 3 here for the Vikings.
Another flag. From the reactions of the DVC players, it looks like it's on them.
An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the center, Giovanni Spinelli. 6'2" freshman out of Pittsburgh.
It's what we talked about already. Flags will shoot you in the foot, and DVC they started to get driving. Another penalty moves them right back.
It's not going to make Coach Darr happy. There is a monster of a difference between 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 18. That's what stares them down here. 3rd and 18 from the Sierra 48. 2 receivers to either side. Tanavasa still behind Dylan Graham. Graham back to pass on a three-step drop. Pressure coming, spins away from one man, but he's not going to get away from loose. Angel Hernandez.
32, Angel Hernandez. Fourth down for DVC.
For Hernandez, his 6th sack of the season. He's got a whopping 9.5 tackles for loss here, less than halfway through his 4th game.
Sierra was in a prevent defense trying to stop the deep pass, but they got the pressure. And they got right to Graham for the sack.
So Christopher Abbas will uncork this one in a moment. Traquan Jones back to take for Sierra.
I don't see a fake happening on this play.
Yeah, a little bit too much yardage to pick up this time around. Abbas, nice spiral on that punt. That's going to chase Jones rather. I'll have to figure out who that is in a moment. All the way back to his 19-yard line. He gets away from one tackler and is going to be chased down at long last at the 42. Trevion Shadrick Harris. First time I've seen anyone other than Traquan Jones take a punt here for Sierra College, so my apologies for the misidentification. But it is Shadrick Harris on that one.
He had the pressure coming for him, evaded a couple defenders. Nice return for the Sierra College special teams.
Between the punt returns and the punt block, they've kind of been the star thus far for Sierra. Set them up for their one touchdown, buried them deep with the punt you remember earlier that left DVC in dire straits and eventually forced the safety.
Seems to be another penalty.
And they seem to be walking in a direction that we're a little more delighted by. So the face mask penalty is going to take them all the way back inside their own 20-yard line.
Looks to be some confusion where the ball is going to be placed right now.
Penalty comes from the spot of the foul.
Wow, all the way back to the 10.
From the 10-yard line, first down.
So it must have been a foul early on in that run. He took the ball at his own 18-yard line, so the foul must have come someplace around the 25. Braylon Lindsay on the handoff over to the left side, swallowed up by the DVC defense. Fantastic bit of containment. It's Zane Cribb finishing off the Sierra running back.
The Viking defense was ready for it, and as you said, they gobbled them up. Nice play on first down for the Viking defense.
So 2nd and 12 coming up here for Sierra as they get backed in close to their own goal line. Trips to the right of Preston Eklund. Back to pass. He's going to gun this deep down the left side, but just does overthrow Hayden Fay.
Vikings had him covered in double coverage right there, but pass is not completed. 3rd down.
And Fay, somebody who is frequently targeted for those long passes. He's got the longest reception of this season, a 56-yard one last week. Went for 4 for 150 and 2 touchdowns in that game against West Hills Coalinga. Empty backfield here. DVC looking to put the pressure on and defend a whole fleet of receivers. Just one man back for the Vikings defense. Going for the pass that is thrown into double coverage there. It was Cribb and Fatalale converging. And that's going to deny Amoni Kareem a chance to catch a ball and maybe run for that first down. So a punt coming from deep in their own territory. DVC a chance to get some great field position. Dom Dominguez a chance to use those wheels. DVC have gotten themselves back into a game rather recently on a big punt return. Roman Sahagan 2 weeks ago. Here comes the ball. Good pressure from the DVC defense. That's going to take a hop. We'll see if Dominguez likes to take it. Nice favorable bounce for him. He recovers it at the 48, and he is running in retro and needs to get north-south in a hurry. He'll be taken down for a loss of about 5 on that, so the Vikings are going to start just shy of their midfield stripe. This is a good time to bring up, we're about 9:17 left in the first half. One of the weird trends I've noticed in Sierra's games is that not a single one of their games looked at the end anything like it looked by this particular moment. Against City College of San Francisco, they were down 30 5 minutes into the second quarter. They ended up losing that one, but only by 8. Against West Hills and Modesto, they were very close games, and they both turned into blowouts. So what I guess I mean to tell you is you may have enjoyed what you've seen so far, but you've learned nothing. Dylan Graham with one in the backfield throwing to the left side, cutting underneath Dom Dominguez. He's going to get that for a pickup of about 5.
They seem to be completing on the little short passes, and that keeps them moving their offense forward.
Go ahead.
Be interesting to see if they continue to do that instead of go deep as they have tried in much of the beginning of the game.
It's a decent idea, too. If you look at Sierra's game against Modesto, they were just torched on screen passes to the wings. 5 for 7, 80 yards, and a long of 33. They kept breaking them off against them. DVC may be taking a page out of that playbook. Trips to the right side, but the give is right up the middle, and a lot of running room here for Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer. He's going to get his way all the way inside the 35 to the 33 before he's finally wrapped up by Jorge Moreno. That's the kind of loosening up that you hope happens when you run the play action and you run as much passing work on the outside. You're hoping that maybe you can catch him napping.
If you continue to complete the little short passes, it opens up the run game a little bit more, and just like that run.
Trips to the right, Desmond Tanavasa in for DVC, just behind Graham. Play fake, and it's going to go to the right side. Good cut by Dominguez to get around the first tackler. Works his way towards the sticks, and he looks like he's gotten the first down to the 24 or the 23.
You see what it was again, another quick pass for the offense. Moving forward.
Gotta like that. DVC in the West Hills game as an example, just 1 for 6 on pass attempts longer than 15 yards. They got most of their good work done on short and mid-range. Got to take those shots now and again to keep it loose for the short and mid-range stuff, though. Sturgis-Kofer in the backfield. He takes. Stutter steps around one defender, and now he's found the corner. Working his way to the 15, down to the 10. Blast through a tackler, and is going to get down inside the 5 for DVC, a 1st and goal.
Now he has great vision. He saw the hole was not there, created his own hole, sets up 1st and goal for the Vikings. We're in business.
Good work by the left side of the offensive line there, too. Tyler Clemens and Jacob Faleafine to lock that off. Big opportunity for the Vikings here to narrow this gap considerably. 9-0 with about 6 minutes, 45 seconds left in our first half. DVC stay in their spread, 2 to either side. Sturgis-Kofer there, again, behind Dylan Graham. They motion Dominguez over to the right, so it's Trips there now, rolling out behind him and passing to Dominguez in the flat. He is not going to get much more than a yard on that, though. His momentum carrying him almost directly into the sideline and wrapped up and kept from turning by Tyson Ibarra. Excuse me, Travion Shadrick Harris, 16, not 6.
The closer they get to the goal line, the tougher the quick passes and passing game will be.
Yeah, a lot more congested all of a sudden. So Hagan and Dominguez come down to the near side. Hamilton and Owls to the far. Sturgis-Kofer behind Graham. 2nd and goal from the 4. Dropping straight back, throwing to the back of the end zone, looking for the flag, and he's going to get it. Roman Sahagan interfered with at the back of the end zone by Jorge Moreno, and that's going to put DVC with a 1st and goal from...
Should be the 2-yard line.
2, okay, thank you. Felt compelled to check. I thought we had to drop kick after a safety earlier. I apparently watched too much NFL football.
They were looking to run the crossing routes in the end zone to open up one of the receivers. None of them were open, but looks like the flag will go the DVC Vikings way.
Defensive holding, not strictly pass interference, but the effect's the same. The yardage not very impressive. It only picks up 2 yards to the 2, but key point is the fresh set of downs.
They went pass play the last 2 times. It'll be interesting to see if they try to pound the rock or go back to the passing game.
At the very least, play action I would expect on this one to put the doubt in the minds of Sierra. The give is to Sturgis Kofer. He's got a hole. Blast through the last man at the line, at the goal line, and scores our first touchdown tonight for DVC.
He saw the goal line. He saw one guy in front of him, and he took him down. Touchdown.
With 5:33 left, DVC cut the gap down to 9-6. They'll look to get one more here. Christopher Abbas on for the extra point. Low snap, well held, however, by Roman Sahagan. That'll be put through. And our score, with 5 minutes, 33 seconds left in your first half, DVC trailing 9-7 on the Viking Sports Network. Back here to live action at Viking Stadium. 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. 9-7 your score. Sierra still in the lead, but DVC closing that gap on the Tyrell Sturgis Kofer touchdown. Christopher Abbas to put this into play. LJ Nelson and Hayden Fay deep for the Wolverines. This one falling in the direction of Nelson with his heels on his 5-yard line. He will take that. Working his way up towards the cavalcade of DVC defenders and looking to hurdle the last man. But it's Zane Cribb getting underneath in a good hold of Nelson's ankle and making sure he goes nowhere.
Who else? He's been all over the field all game, making tackles, making plays. Love to see it for the DVC defense.
Absolutely the lockdown man in the win against West Hills. He's got 2 picks this season. The sophomore out of Monte Vista. So Sierra will start this drive on their own 27-yard line.
Wolverines want to jump start at the 27, their own 27. First down.
This is the first look we're getting at the next quarterback, Quintin Pilcher, 6-foot-tall freshman out of Anchorage, Alaska. He enters with 1 man in the backfield with him. Appears to be Calvin Robinson. 2 receivers to either side. Good blitz pickup by Robinson, and Pilcher's going to get off to a run down the right side. Nice work there, though, by the number 13, Tanner Cooper for DVC. 6-foot freshman out of Oakley. Able to ensure that Pilcher didn't get much more than what you saw right there. Pilcher with 9 rushes for 38 yards coming into tonight's game. Oh, put one in the soccer commentary swear jar. Whoops. Bad snap. Pilcher forced to chase it. From very deep, he's going to find a man crossing over the left side, though. LJ Nelson. Nelson upended by the tackle of Darrell Walker. But it looks as though he's going to get the first down out of that. A flag has been thrown, however. Colin, did you catch whether that was from the backfield?
They threw it in the backfield, but I think it could be on DVC.
We've got a competing theory here from Max, perhaps a block in the back. Let's see what we've got. In the meanwhile, what a hit right there. The microphone not telling us much right there. They motion for the first down. I think they've just picked up the flag.
Penalty going against DVC. It's a first down.
So it'll be first down from the 42 now.
DVC brought the pressure after the fumble, but Sierra makes a nice play and takes advantage. First down.
Yeah, doing a little bit better of a job of getting something out of the bad snap in that case. Pilcher more of a running quarterback from what I saw of their game against Modesto. He's going to look here and throws it to the wrong shoulder to Matt Smart. That'll be dropped. That'll bring up 2nd and 10.
DVC continues to bring the pressure. I love to see it.
Certainly forcing a lot of quick decisions here, and of course for Pilcher, he's been watching most of this game from the sidelines, so want to take advantage of the speed of the game seeming to be just that bit quicker the moment you take the field.
Timeout on the field.
Yeah, the clock continued to run after the incomplete pass, so I think the referee crew wants to talk briefly about what that should read. I believe 4:07 when I looked up there. Okay, so we've got the reset coming here. I hear 4:03. Oh, 4:08 instead. And there we go. Ready for action. Play clock restarted. And Sierra ready. Trips to the right. One man in the backfield is Calvin Robinson. DVC pack in the box. Dropping back to passes. Pilcher, good pressure from behind, but it doesn't quite get to him. And just over the outstretched hand of a DVC defender and into the arms of Amoni Kareem for the Sierra touchdown. 63 yards to pay dirt. That is despite the jump of Jawan Brown. We talked a little bit in the opening about the decimated defensive backfield crew for the DVC Vikings. Brown about a fingernail away from breaking that pass up, but instead it goes for 6.
Another play that the Vikings got the pressure on the quarterback, but this time he stands in there and makes a nice pass.
You know, on some level, it almost helps that he didn't know it was coming. Kenyon Boyer for the extra point, nearly blocked, but that will go through the uprights. So our score here with about 4 minutes to go in the first half. Sierra 16, DVC 7 on the DVC Vikings Sports Network. Joseph Mintmeyer, the punter, out to take the kickoff here. Back for the Vikings is Prose and Miles. Antoine Prose taking it at the 8-yard line. Working his way up. Has a couple of blockers on the left. He's going to try to get north-south around that corner. We'll return that for about 18 yards. Looks like DVC is going to get started at their own 27. 3:48 to go here in the first half. So the Vikings looking for a strong close to the first half here. See if they can get a little something on the board, close this back up to a one-score game before the halftime break. Certainly what they need to avoid, and what West Hills Coalinga did not against Sierra last week, is a series of 3 and outs at a time like this. So just chewing up some yardage and making some headway would be nice here. From the empty backfield, throwing over to the sideline, looking for Dom Dominguez in the flats. He'll take that for a pickup of about 4.
Quick pass again, making it move.
Yeah, Sierra definitely willing to give the Vikings that. It's going to be 2nd and 5 from the 32-yard line.
And who else but number 17, Dominic Dominguez. Seems to be catching almost every pass.
It certainly was the case last week. Came away with 10 catches for 137. Played the game of his life in that one. Trips to the right side. Sturgis Kofer behind Graham in the pistol. Graham's going to do a delayed run over to the left. Sturgis Kofer met by his opposite number. It's number 4, Ian Moore, who closes him up on the sideline. It's going to be a loss of about 3 on that play, back to the 29. 3rd and 8 for DVC. Not a ton of variation in the personnel out there. They're going to put Hamilton, Dominguez, and Alves in trips on the right side. Sahagan coming down to the bottom of your screen. Sturgis Kofer to the left of Graham in the pistol. It's a delayed run there. The fake of the pass. Sturgis Kofer had found a little bit of room, but gets whipped down well short of the sticks. That'll bring up 4th down, and the 3 and out that we talked about not wanting to see here for the Vikings is indeed going to come to pass. They'll have to punt this away, and the defense is going to need one more stand to stay within touching distance of the Wolverines. 2 minutes and counting left in our first half.
They try to deke the defense with a little fake pass, but the draw comes and DVC gets stopped short.
So Traquan Jones deep. Abbas to uncork this. This might have been the spot for a fake, but they're not going to try it here. A little bit a dicey time. A spinning kick that is going to take a happy DVC bounce, rolling all the way inside the red zone. That'll be downed at the 16-yard line, so giving Sierra not a ton to work with in terms of field position. A nice punt right there. Christopher Abbas burying roughly half of his kicks inside the 20, averaging 43 yards per punt this season.
And it was a great kick. He was under a lot of pressure. Sierra almost blocked another punt, but got it off, and it got the good DVC roll. Sets the defense up nicely.
As we said before, the story so far of the first half, definitely the Sierra special teams. They've blocked a punt to set up their first touchdown. They've buried DVC at their own 1 to set up the safety. They've had a couple of good-looking punt returns that have been called back subsequently for penalties, so live by it, die by it, I suppose. Pilcher in the gun, dropping back, good pressure, but he's going to find his man up the middle, and it's Matt Smart going to be hauled down there.
Ball is out.
By Jonathan Lambert. The ball comes free, but we're going to see if that's a ground cause the fumble situation or if DVC have just recovered a fumble. The signal, thought for a moment that the side judge was signaling for a DVC ball. He was actually just waving the Sticks crew to get over here a bit faster. 1:15 left, and Sierra all of a sudden, with a little bit of promise in this drive, they're at the DVC 31, 1st and 10. The snap, the give up the gut to Christian Simmons, gets by the first man, stacked up now by Zane Cribb at the last. Dion Falau also. So Dion Falau also trying to make that tackle. He had lost his grip on him just as Cribb arrived, so no harm, no foul on that, but a pickup of 7. Able to work his way through Devin Thomas, who was picked off a little bit there, and we've got a timeout here taken by Sierra College. A little under a minute to go. At this point, if you're DVC, what does your focus need to be? What do you key in on that you think you're going to see out of the Sierra offense?
I'd love to see the defense just continue to get pressure. Their DBs seem to be getting beat on deep balls as well, but I feel like if they have their safeties drop back, maybe play a little bit of a zone, might be able to stop them, especially in their own territory. Maybe stop them for a field goal would be nice.
Yeah, for sure the field a little bit shorter, so those deep balls can't be quite as deep. It's not something the DVC was getting beaten on a whole lot against West Hills. They suffered a few of them against Sacramento City.
I think the big part was they've seemed to be getting beat almost all game today, but Sierra hasn't been able to complete the passes. But this drive, they got that big pass, sets them up nicely. But let's see if the DVC defense can turn around, stop them, maybe get even a turnover.
Yeah, Quintin Pilcher a lot more effective, a lot more precise on those long balls than Preston Eklund was in the first quarter and the first half of the second. Sierra come out with trips to the right. Simmons in the backfield, 56 seconds left to go, 2nd and 4. Ball into the gut of Pilcher, rolls out to the right side. Pressure comes, he takes a hit. That ball lofted toward the left pylon. And there is a flag in the backfield, and DVC got to Pilcher just a little bit late. And that is going to be a roughing the passer call. That is going to be yardage and a first down. Just a little lack of discipline there from the DVC defense. They had Pilcher under pressure. They got what they wanted, which was an errant throw aiming to the pylon, trying to find Amoni Kareem.
The penalty flag seemed to shoot the offense of the Vikings in the foot. This time it shoots the defense in the foot. They seem to have better coverage on that pass play, but the defensive lineman with a late hit pushes Sierra's offense forward even more.
Well, you throw into Zane Cribb's airspace at your own risk. Trips to the right. Simmons to the left of Quintin Pilcher. In the shotgun, he is going to take the quarterback draw. It's a design play. He's working his way to the end zone, scoots under the DVC defender, and lunges for pay dirt. And that is going to be a Sierra touchdown.
They saw an opening without any safeties in the back end of the end zone. Easy, straight line to the end zone for the touchdown.
My apologies to Vikings fans listening in, because that's more or less exactly what I described when DVC started their 3-and-out drive, so sorry. Kenyon Boyer to take the extra point here, looking to make it a 16-point Sierra advantage. And he puts that through the uprights. Now the upside, of course, is that DVC are now going to get a chance to try to do a little something with the remaining 42 seconds without quite the same fear of giving Sierra a short field.
And remember, they still have all 3 timeouts left for the Vikings.
So when we come back in just a moment, that's what we'll be seeing. Final 42 seconds of the first half. DVC looking to fight back, down 23-7 here on the Viking Sports Network. Back to live action here at Vikings Field. And it's going to be Kenyon Boyer back on kickoff duty. He pops this one up. It's going to take a bounce before it hits anybody for DVC, and that almost becomes an onside kick. The ball rolling out of play on the far sideline, and mercifully so.
A nice little pooch kick. DVC had no one in the area. They're lucky to have the ball shoot out onto the other sideline.
Backspun that thing like a sand wedge. So that will give DVC nice field position, but of course they've got to bring their heart rates down from thinking that was about to be a turnover. They'll start from their own 41 seconds roughly left in our first half. Empty backfield. 2 to the right, 3 to the left for Dylan Graham. Back to pass and a 3-step drop. Scoots around pressure. Good protection here, and he's going to take off with it and slide himself down at the 44. We'll see, 43 is where they started it, as signaled by our head linesman Jason Rosales. A timeout taken by the Vikings. That took, between the pooch kick and that play, took about 13 seconds off the clock, so 27 seconds left. DVC 57 yards away from the end zone.
That's the mobility that we were talking about. They got the pressure onto him, but he escaped. Gets a good gain and take a timeout. Doesn't take too much time off the clock. Sets them up nice. Second down.
And we haven't seen the Vikings take too many shots deep in this game. They've largely had their joy out in the flat. Sierra seemed willing to give them that, and they've yet to really punish them for it so far. But here you've got to maybe take a shot.
Yeah, if they're looking to score before the half is over, they're going to have to take a couple shots and then maybe mix in a little of the short routes. But you gotta move down the field if you're going to score.
Probably only time, and it's 29 seconds left as that's been reset. Of course, feels all the more important at this point in the half to get that scoreboard clock right. So 29 seconds, empty backfield for Graham, dropping back, good protection, and here is the deep shot, looking over the right shoulder of David Hamilton, but he's not going to be able to haul that in.
You like the play call, and the DVC receivers got past the cornerbacks on the Sierra defense, but can't bring it in.
Yeah, good coverage there from Sylvester Toby.
33 at the 43.
If that ball had actually been on the back shoulder, though, might have had a good shot at it.
He put it in the only spot that the DVC receiver could have gotten it, or the only person to get to it would have been a DVC receiver.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 3 from their own 43-yard line.
It'll be interesting to see if they go for a deep ball or just go for the first down and take a timeout.
I think considering a deep ball would actually give Sierra time to do something with it, that may be the way. That does not seem to be the idea, though, with the man in motion, and I think Hamilton may have turned upfield before the snap. Let's see what the flag is. Oh, no, instead the call is against Joe Wells.
5-yard assessment against the Vikes.
That's going to make it 3rd and 8. So now the run up the gut to try to get the first down, kind of taken off the table unless you think that the element of surprise is going to get it for you.
Sierra still has their 2 timeouts as well, so if they can get a stop right here, it could set them up nice.
Two receivers to each side for Dylan Graham. He's got Desmond Tanavasa checked into the game behind him. Tanavasa in on the blocking and the protection, manages to fight off a Sierra defender twice over, but Dylan Graham is going to be forced out of bounds at the 39.
But him running out of bounds stops the clock.
So Sierra doesn't end up needing to spend that timeout. On 4th and 8, they're going to need to punt this away, and the Wolverines are going to get a chance at least a play or two here. Some questionable clock management here, and that's something that as a quarterback you have to have in the back of your mind. If you know that you're about to get taken down, take a slide. Keep yourself in play. You obviously don't want to give yourself up to be blown up, but
another positive here for the Sierra special teams. After this play is over, the clock will stop again.
Trevion Shadrick Harris back to take this. They only send one rusher this time, concentrating on the protection. Shadrick Harris takes it at his own 27 and nearly does spin out of the tackle of DVC's Sean Hupke.
Return was by 16, Trevion Shadrick Harris. He's met by number 29.
That took a good chunk of the time off the clock. We're down to 7.6 seconds on the board, so enough time for maybe one play and a quick timeout or one play to the sideline and then a Hail Mary.
Football placed at the 37.
That was a nice punt and floated in the air, but it looks like they're going to be kneeling this one out.
Also, no interest in trying to challenge for another score and put this one away. It's not victory formation, it's let's go take a break formation. And that is exactly what we're going to do for the next 15 minutes or so. So again, thank you for joining us so far today. We'll be back in a little bit with the second half of today's game. DVC trailing at the break, 23-7 on the Vikings Sports Network.
Diablo Valley College is your door to opportunity. In an environment where the workforce landscape has changed, more opportunity equals more success. Today, trained, educated workers are in high demand. From skilled laborers to healthcare professionals, DVC can help you get there. Diablo Valley College is one of the top career training education programs among California community colleges. Start your career path at DVC and doors will open. Diablo Valley College. Education, opportunity, success.
All right, welcome Vikings fans back here on the Vikings Sports Network. A little under 8 minutes until we're coming back for the second half. Joe Hickey with you, along with my color man here, Mr. Colin Dixon. Talk a little bit about what we saw there in the first half. Certainly in the first quarter, special teams seemed to be the highlight. A block punt that led directly to a touchdown, a coffin corner that led to a safety. But an awful lot changed in the second quarter with the introduction of Quintin Pilcher, don't you think, Colin?
Yeah, that was huge. He came in, scored 2 touchdowns, 1 in the air and 1 on the ground. The difference, that's really the difference in the game so far for Sierra.
Yeah, those deep routes that DVC conceded there, they had been there throughout the course of the first quarter or so, but Eklund just unable to quite make the connection there. Pilcher just devastating to DVC there. If you're Coach Dar, what is it you need to look to do here in this second half, either to stop the Sierra train or to get your offense out of second gear?
I think the biggest thing for the offense was what they were hitting was the short routes, and they got to continue to do that and get some more receivers into the mix. I mean, Dominguez was catching almost every single ball. Get a guy like Alves or Sahagan in, get a little variety out of the offense, open up some other routes for guys like that, and open up the running game too.
Exactly. We saw that in the one successful DVC drive. Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer seeing a lot of extra room there, a couple of holes that hadn't been there over the course of the first quarter. And, of course, the thing you've got to stop doing, and we said it about the Sacramento City game, it's just as true so far today, it's the penalties.
Mm-hmm.
The yellow hankies are just killing us, killing DVC.
Both on offense and defense. It was, I mean, offense got screwed by it a couple times. They would move them back, move them back, move them back. Defense seemed to be good with the penalties, but as soon as Sierra got into the DVC zone, they had a big penalty setting up a touchdown for Sierra.
Exactly, and DVC aided a little bit. Their touchdown came by virtue of a couple of penalties, a holding call in the end zone, and so forth. So it can certainly cut both ways, but the edge decisively at this point is Sierra. So that's the game plan, at least the ideas coming from the booth. We'll see what Coach Dar and his staff have dreamed up for half number 2, about 5.5 minutes away. We hope to see you there on the Vikings Sports Network. Welcome back. Half number 2 almost ready to get underway here on the Viking Sports Network. Joe Hickey with you, Colin Dixon right here beside me, and of course Oscar Martinez on the camera, Max Agris at the controls. We are just about ready for action here. Christopher Abbas will be kicking this off. And Sierra will start with possession to begin the second half, and they certainly finished with a flourish in the first half. A pair of late touchdowns courtesy of Quintin Pilcher's arm and then later on his legs. So Abbas to take this, Fay and Nelson back to receive. It'll be Hayden Fay taking it with his heels on the 9-yard line. Works his way now, cuts to the left side, working toward the sideline, loses control of the football, and it's out. No, perhaps not. I think I saw something else hit the deck.
Sierra ball. And another
and a
flag.
Late flag, and let's see who that's on.
We saw that a ton in the first half, and it looks like how we start the second half is the same way.
On the one hand, you like a little cohesiveness to your stories. On the bad side, these penalties have been beating up DVC from the get-go. Let's see who this is on. Another DVC unsportsmanlike conduct. We saw one late in the second quarter that backed up a potential 3rd and 3 and turned it into a 3rd and 18. This one is going to give Sierra a great deal better starting field position. Instead of back on their 30, they'll be starting on their own 41.
You give them a good return, and then you give them more yards on the penalty. You can't be doing that, as we touched on in the first half. Shooting himself in the foot with penalties. I mean, you can't start off the second half doing it, but let's see if the DVC defense can get a stop, get the offense back on the field, and get them back into this game.
Now, interestingly, for as effective as Quintin Pilcher was in the late second quarter, it's Preston Eklund back in to start the third. They certainly worked a platoon in the game that I got to see them play against Modesto. Pilcher did not play a whole lot against West Hills Coalinga last week, however. Graylin Lindsay, the big play threat, who we only saw in the early going of the first quarter, back out there now for the Wolverines. Trips to the right side here. The handoff quickly is to Lindsay, goes behind left guard, left tackle. Appears to have tripped over his own player and is down additionally with a little help from Ravin Nasali. Dion Falao as well on that as the DVC offensive line closes up the hole. Just a pickup of about 2.
Ball number 43, 2nd and 8.
Very tight formation right here, nowhere near the kind of spread we're accustomed to on 2nd and 8. Motion a man in, and it's going to be a end around to Matt Smart. He's picked up in the backfield. Nice hit there from Tanner Cooper to slow him up. He falls forward roughly to the original line of scrimmage again, so they lose the 2 yards picked up by Lindsay. It'll be 3rd and a long 9.
The DVC defense saw the motion and picked it up well. Nice play, sets them up nicely for a 3rd and long.
They move Smart over to the left side now.
Sierra seems to be spreading it out again.
Amoni Kareem, look out for him in the slot. That was a favorite target of Pilcher earlier. We'll see if he remains just as involved in this. Lindsay to the right of Eklund, drops back to pass over the middle, and that is going to go between a pair of receivers. A little too high for Farr crossing in from the right, a little too low for Kareem crossing in from the left, and Kareem gets up with a little bit of a hitch in his giddy-up.
And that is exactly what the DVC defense needed. Get the Sierra offense off the field and put the DVC offense on the field.
4th and 9, quick 3 and out. More or less how DVC started their day at the beginning of the first quarter, and so exactly what the doctor ordered for Coach Dar's men. Dominic Dominguez, at least for the time being, is going to continue to get more touches because he is back to take the punt. Joseph Mintmeyer back to punt this one away. Just 2 of his 17 punts this year inside the 20, and he shanks that one off the outside of his boot, and that is going to even take a bounce backward after landing near the sideline. That's going to start DVC with great field position. Waiting for the official signal, and it's going to be at about the 43. Mintmeyer on average seems to be good for roughly once every 3 punts or so, having one come off the side of his boot. Not a whole lot of pressure on that one either.
First play in the second half for the Vikings.
Bit of an unforced error. We'll see if DVC can take advantage. We've got Sturgis Kofer going behind Ravin Nasalai, and he's going to spin his way through a tackle and very close to a DVC first down.
And that's exactly what you need to start a half. Get the ball moving. Let's see if DVC can continue to do this.
Neat little wrinkle there as Nasalai, starting linebacker, is finding his way in. He's not exactly a Fridge Perry type, but using him almost in a fullback role, or maybe more accurately as a wing sort of tight end. Had him come in and clear out some space for Sturgis Kofer. He's still in there on the left side. They're going to go to Sturgis Kofer again on the right. He is stacked up by the Sierra defense right at the line of scrimmage. Led authoritatively there.
And what's new? Another flag on the play.
So Joshua Cannon there leading the charge on that stop, and we're going to see if any more yardage is going to be taken away from the Vikings. And judging by the frustrated look on the face of Roman Sahagan, it is another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against DVC. And 2nd and 1, having become third and is about to become having become 3rd and 1, is about to become 3rd and 16.
And I know we've touched on it time and time again, but the flag continues to beat down the DVC offense.
So, well, Colin, we'd love for the story to get old and no longer applicable, but that has not been the case.
Not at all.
Bullet-riddled feet for the Vikings at the moment, and they have got a long 16 yards to try to pick up here on 3rd down. Sturgis Kofer in the backfield. Trips to the right, Graham back, finding a man over the middle, and it's going to be overthrown to Dominguez, and there may be a penalty about to rescue DVC. Tyson Ibarra had a hand to that ball, but then Dominguez took a hit, and that may be deemed to be against a defenseless receiver. And if so, DVC might get a first down by way of the penalty.
And that will be huge, as it was a very long 3rd down. And if this goes their way, the DVC offense will be in business with another first down.
That is the kind of break that the Vikings have not really had up to this point. Although based on where the officials are walking, let's see. What exactly is the plan? And that is a targeting call on Ian Moore, and so he's the 2nd player we've seen sent off, if I may borrow a soccer analogy there. Ian Moore ejected. We saw that earlier today for DVC. It was Isaiah Lutu-Suesue. He was tossed for targeting back in the 1st quarter.
And this penalty sets up DVC in the Sierra side of the half of the field.
Yeah, Vikings at the Sierra 49 now, and a fresh set of downs, courtesy of the yellow hanky. Ian Moore taking a shot head-to-head against Dom Dominguez, who I believe is still out there. Not presently on the field, so certainly hoping that he's all right from that contact. Nasalai is still out there, as is Sturgis Kofer to the left of Graham. It's Tyrell getting the handoff. He works his way through the line. Good work there from Blake Freeze, the number 99, sophomore out of Oroville, California, to wrap up DVC's leading rusher.
Now this would be a good spot for them to do one of those little quick out routes, get a couple quick passes in, quick yards on the 2nd and 9 play.
Yeah, we've seen Sierra willing to give that up over the course of, particularly over the 2nd quarter. That was where DVC was making their money. Nasalai still out there on the right. Interesting formation that DVC's working with right now. Desmond Tanavasa in place of Sturgis Kofer. There's the fake, and sliding right back to the line of scrimmage will be Dylan Graham as a Sierra defender came flying up the middle. That was number 2, Joshua Cannon. So Graham slides back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10. We're back on the 49-yard line.
Graham has continuously been under pressure all game. Let's hope that the DVC offense can give him some more protection.
I'll say he's done a pretty good job of avoiding that pressure for the most part. He took a few very costly sacks late against Sacramento City, and so decent learning moment there for Graham. Fakes the handoff to Tanavasa. They're thinking about the end around to Giovanni Hong, and right as I say it, the commentator's curse. Taken down for a big loss is Dylan Graham. It's going to be an 11-yard loss on the play, and that brings up 4th down.
And DVC continues to be hit by the pressure. I mean, this time Graham cannot escape it, and DVC gets knocked back even more.
It was a slow developing play. Interesting idea on a long 3rd down. They'll bring out Abbas. Traquan Jones back to return. Takes the snap, needs to uncork this one. They get pretty close to it there, and a touch to Christopher Abbas. The ball is going to roll, and so even if this isn't the penalty we think it is, they would down it at the 11, but I think Abbas will be happy to give the ball back to his offense rather than claim yet another punt inside the 20, although it will depend on whether it's running into the kicker or roughing. Okay, so a 5-yard penalty. It was a small bit of contact, not a roughing call. And so the 5-yard penalty merely makes it 4th and 16. And I'm interested there. In that situation, Colin, wouldn't you expect them to decline that and take the yardage, take the punt?
I'm pretty confused on that because they had a great punt and it set up the DVC defense.
And it looks like
really
the DVC defense is ready to come back on the field. I think they don't want it. Referee's still trying to work out. Okay, so the official word here is that it is not that they are going to give DVC the ball back, but on 4th and 16, it's that they're going to enforce that 5-yard penalty on the back end of a punt that landed at the 11. So that should bury Sierra back at their own 6.
That seems to make a little more sense. From what we were seeing, it didn't make a lot of sense what DVC seemed to be doing, but sets us up nicely. The punt was great by Abbas.
And also seeming confusion right here about where exactly the punt was down. Referee and crew having a little bit of difficulty.
5-yard assessment.
But the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. There we go. At long last, we've got ourselves the ball on the 6. So 1st and 10 for Sierra. 1 man in the backfield. They motion far over to the left. They hand it off up the middle, though, to I believe that was Graylin Lindsay. Rather, Christian Simmons, the number 8.
Great pursuit by the DVC defensive line, stuffing them for less than just a couple yards on the carry.
Shyrus Duckett on the tackle there.
2nd and 8.
So 2nd and 8 after a short gain. DVC trying to work the 3 and out and flip the field here. Little motion between Duckett and Fatalale to try to confuse the offensive line of the Wolverines. Here comes the pressure. Ball over to the right side looking for Imani Kareem. Throws it into triple coverage, just a bit high for the DVC defender over in that corner.
DVC didn't seem to get too much pressure on the quarterback, but the secondary was great, and especially in that triple coverage, no one was getting to that ball unless it was a Viking defense player.
Yeah. Sean Hupke there trying to rise up for it, but he is 5'9", 180, so only so much a vertical can do to compensate for that. Eklund back to pass, throwing again into the post pattern, and that time they hit. Matt Smart again on the long catch. chased down by Jonathan Lambert, the number 28.
DVC was in their prevent defense. They only rushed 3 guys toward this quarterback, but they get beat deep again, and that continues to be a story for the Sierra offense.
Lambert pressed into service. We had heard earlier that he was potentially out today with a knee. As we said, the depth of the Vikings secondary leaving a little bit to be desired at this point. And so he's out there. Got burned deep on that particular occasion. Motion man this time is Kareem. They're going to hand off against the motion to Christian Simmons, and good penetration and a nice little ankle tackle there by Dion Falao of DVC.
And Zane Cribb in on that play again. He seems to be everywhere on the field for DVC's defense.
Loss of a yard, 2nd and 11.
So the tackle for loss will set back the Wolverines on 2nd and 11 now from their own 47. Simmons stays in the backfield, trips right. Going back for the pass, long ball looking back shoulder here for Joshua Farr rather. That one falls incomplete.
Number 19, Joshua Farr, 3rd and 11.
And we have a roughing the passer call against DVC though on the play, and another first down given away by the Vikings.
Again and again, we keep bringing it up. I don't want to keep bringing it up, but we got to do it. Another penalty shoots the DVC defense in the foot.
I feel like we need a different euphemism for that, because hearing that one a bit too much right now.
Penalty advances the ball to the 38. First down.
So Preston Eklund moving the ball through a few decent passes, and also, of course, through a handful of gifts from DVC over aggression. We've seen a roughing the passer. We've seen several unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Simmons in the backfield with him. 2 receivers to either side from the left hash mark at the 38. Back to pass, throws that through the hands of his crossing receiver, Imoni Kareem.
2nd and 10.
I think a big thing for the DVC secondary is they've stuffed the short passes, but on the long passes where they've been getting beaten.
I mentioned beforehand, though, that has not been the way of the DVC defense up to this point in the season. Largely, they've contained those long balls. The ball looking for Graylin Lindsay, and he is going to drop that one. Wiped out is Brandon Fatalale, trying to chase him down, and he wants a flag for that. Nothing coming, though. 3rd and 10.
DVC did not read that screenplay well, but they got lucky with the drop pass by the running back.
About halfway through quarter number 3, 23-7, same score we started the second half with if you're just joining us. Pair of late touchdowns in the second quarter, turning a 9-7 game into a much different feeling affair. Eklund in the pistol, he's got Simmons to his left, 3 receivers to his right. Design quarterback draw, he works his way forward, gets around the first defender, but is taken down by Zane Cribb. Who else? Short of the first down sticks.
DVC was showing pressure. They drop back, and Zane Cribb with a great tackle stuffs him, forces a 4th down.
It appears that the offense is going to stay out on the field here. Play clock is running. Ball here on the 33-yard line. A 4th and 6. 4th and 5, let's call it. Simmons in the backfield with Eklund. 3 receivers to the right side. DVC a chance for a big stop and better field position. Goes back shoulder to Matt Smart, and he drops it over there. Fantastic read, great route, shook off his man, but can't complete the play. And that'll be a turnover on downs to the Vikings.
A couple of drops helped the DVC defense on that drive. Sets up the offense, was pretty decent field position.
Matt Smart's somebody who has made his share of big grabs. We said Pretty decent game against Modesto, one of the few bright spots Sierra had in that one. Not targeted quite as much in the game against West Hills last week, but there was plenty to go around in that one. 703 total yards of offense for Sierra in that game. It's enough for them to get around shooting themselves in the foot with 19 penalties for 189 yards. DVC looking for the same. Dylan Graham on the play fake, going deep for Pros, rising to it and is not going to be able to get it. Good coverage there from Trevion Shadrick Harris. That's enough to break up the long ball for DVC. You mentioned, though, Colin, they need to get other receivers involved, and we have seen a few other folks getting targeted here.
Dominic Dominguez is back in the game, though. Last series he left the field, and now he's back in.
Good to see.
Yeah, he seems to be healthy.
He comes out as one of the 3 receivers on the left side of Dylan Graham's formation. Sturgis Cover with him in the backfield. Take the short, hardly any drop, and overthrows Dominguez looking for the short route over on the left side. Unclear whether there would have been a whole lot of room. Austin Bays was tracking him there.
Seemed to be set up nicely, but you can't get the play going if you can't complete the pass.
Yeah, not a lot of pressure right there. Just did not quite have the touch.
Another 3rd and long for the DVC offense.
On the upside this time, not because of a penalty.
Yes.
Graham takes it, Kofer out into protection, trying to step up in the pocket, looking for Hamilton, who does take a hit, but I'm going to imagine that ball is deemed uncatchable, and so no hope for an interference call to bail them out. A 3 and out for DVC on a trio of incompletions.
Graham had great pressure on that play, but the Sierra defense shut down all the receivers, left no lanes for Graham to have a good pass.
So Trevion Shadrick Harris back to return Christopher Abbey's punt. He's had a couple decent ones recently. The last one he had to get off of his boot rolled all the way down to the 11-yard line, and then running into the kicker call backed up Sierra to their own 6. Be looking for more of the same right here. Sierra, meanwhile, will be looking for something more like what they did in the first quarter. Bit of a high snap, but it does come down. No pressure this time around. And he uncorks the kick. Shadrick Harris will take it at his own 25, looking to run up the left sideline, looking for a little room, tries to cut it inside, and is not going to find much daylight there. The tackle finally made, and it's largely number 29, Sean Hupke, who was holding on for dear life.
And it looks like that return will be moved back, as I saw another flag thrown on that play.
You know, I'd heard the adage as a football fan for years that you could call holding on every play, but they really seem to be taking that seriously tonight. By holding, I mean unsportsmanlike conduct. You know, maybe it doesn't scan. So a penalty assessed from the spot of the foul here, and that's going to bring back the Sierra punt return. He managed to work his way about 14 yards from the 25 up to the 39, but most of that about to get wiped out. Oh, and then some. All right, so a 1st and 10 from the 19. Sierra backed up by the DVC punt, followed by their own bad intentions. Line up still with Eklund in the gun. Graylin Lindsay to his right. 2 receivers to each side. Zane Cribb, who's been everywhere for DVC, is currently seems to be locked in man-on-man coverage on the 2nd receiver on the right. Nope, he's coming for a bit of pressure, and they're going to pass out of it, and they find Smart on the crossing route. Catches it at the line of scrimmage and now works his way all the way to the 34-yard line before being pushed out of bounds by Ronnie Preston and Tanner Cooper.
Eklund was under pressure, but he had a nice little quick out route pass. Moves Sierra down the field onto the 35.
16-yard pickup on the play. good start to the drive as they get back all the yards they lost on the penalty. They come out with 2 on either side again. Bit of a stunt run down on the defensive line, and that allows them to get into Graylin Lindsey's airspace, and he is dropped for a loss. It's like 1 or 2 yards back.
In this second half, the DVC defense seems to be stopping the run a lot more. It seems to be the pass that has been hurting them.
And they haven't had the one big one that has gotten broken off all the way to the end zone, so no scoring yet here in the third quarter. 23-7 remains our score, just a little over 5 minutes to go in the third. Vikings defense looking for something special. Eklund under pressure, dragged down from behind. And it's a sack from Ravin Nasalai, who has been playing on both sides of the ball. He's been clearing out space for Sturgis Kofer on the offensive side and now has a sack to go along with all that work.
And that's what you love to see if you're the DVC defense. You've had a lot of pressure all game. Finally getting to the quarterback, that's huge.
So a further loss of 4, and it's going to be 3rd and 15 from the 30.
I assume the DVC defense will go in more to a prevent defense rather than pressure. Looks like only 3 guys will be rushing the quarterback here.
They're backing off 6 into coverage. Eklund drifting over to the right, throws it short to Lindsey, overthrew him, knocks it down to keep it from becoming an interception and maybe even a pick 6. So that's good for Sierra, but nothing else about that play was 4th and 15 with 4:15 to go, and DVC about to get the ball back on a punt. Dominic Dominguez back to take it. Joseph Mintmeyer, I believe the last one we saw, we were excited about Dominguez getting a touch and getting to run it back, and he didn't have to because it only went about 20 yards. High snap here for Mintmeyer. He handles that one well and actually puts a boot through it. This ball's going to roll down here inside the 30-yard line. Dominguez trying to be a little gnat in there and annoy the Sierra players, but they downed it at the 25.
And it seems to be that number 15, Nick Visser, is entering the game for the DVC Vikings at the quarterback position.
Interesting choice. Maybe something a little bit off with Dylan Graham. Certainly that pass, the overthrow in the flat to Dominguez, very uncharacteristic. And so you wonder if that's a sign that maybe something's a little off with him physically. Visser, surrounded by running backs in the backfield, takes the high snap, gives it to Sturgis Kofer, trying to pick his way through a crowd of defenders, but he's piled up after a gain of about 3. Second and 7 to come here after a pile-up. Tion Timmel getting the eventual stop, but could have credited just about anybody for that one.
I'm intrigued to see if Visser will give the DVC offense a little more energy, a little more, something different. Get them moving.
It certainly worked for Sierra in the second quarter. It's kind of the great mystery to me why Quintin Pilcher hasn't seen the field here in the third. It seemed to be working like a charm. Visser's going to hand this off again to Tyrell Sturgis Kofer, tries to bounce it to the outside. And a meeting there with Tyson Ibarra.
Nice tackle from number 6, Tyson Ibarra.
5'11", 180 freshman out of Rio Linda. Plays bigger than that, I'll tell you, though. So a pickup of 2 on the play. Sturgis Kofer getting DVC into a manageable 3rd down situation.
This looks like it'll probably be Visser's first pass of the game.
He's got trips at the top of your screen. Dominguez, Alves, and I think Pros, or maybe Hamilton. It will be that pass. He goes over the center, and Dylan Alves makes the catch and spins all the way down near to the midfield stripe. Vikings pick up the first down, and that's a big conversion for them.
It was one of those short routes. They seem to not have done that a lot in the second half, and I feel like that's what they were doing best in the first half. They get to it in the second half for the first time, and they get a first down. The Vikings are moving.
2 minutes, 10 seconds left in our third quarter. 23-7 the score if you're just joining us. DVC looking to close that gap. It's a two-possession game if you take two-point conversions into account, so they'll continue to try to rumble. Desmond Tanavasa takes that up to the midfield stripe, 3-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 7 in just a moment.
Mo Abishar, 46, making the stop. Short gain right to the 50.
Ever since Visser's entered the game, every single play seems to be moving forward, which is a bright spot for the DVC offense.
That opening day game, they had 7 yards per carry up the middle, all 3 of their touchdowns, so it's running behind the line, starting to pay some dividends tonight as well. They motion Dominguez out to the right side. Visser with the handoff, almost a Statue of Liberty play. Sturgis Kofer steps out of a tackle, keeps rumbling all the way down to the 33 where he gets blasted, and that's going to be a foul and probably another 15 yards added on.
And whoever that was that made that hit looks like it could be another targeting call.
It's Roy Johnson, the number 41. And we will see what our referee has to tell us.
But before that penalty was called, it was a great run by the DVC offense.
So they get the 15 yards. It's not a targeting call, but it is a late hit out of bounds after a stunning Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer run.
15 additional yards added on.
And DVC continues to move up the field. This looks to be a great drive so far with Nick Visser's first drive.
The yellow hanky putting DVC into the red zone. 1st and 10 from the Sierra 19.
First down.
And perhaps the clock continuing to run. I was about to comment on us being into the final minute, but they may have needed to stop that for the hit out of bounds. Threatening to take bets inside the press box on what we're going to actually have here. And a revision to the call. We thought we just had a personal foul for the late hit, but they have revised that to targeting, so it changes nothing about the field position, but it does mean that Roy Johnson is the 3rd player ejected from tonight's game. He'll join his teammate Ian Moore on the sidelines. DVC, of course, much earlier had Isaiah Lutuse. Excuse me, I'm going to mess this up terribly. Lutusue, I was almost there. Tossed as well from the game for a targeting hit. The prior two, though, interestingly, had been situations where somebody was kind of wrapped up and got targeted by a player who joined the party a little bit later on. Or in the case of Dominguez, a defenseless receiver. This was a very different sort of situation. So the DVC offense aided by penalties this time around instead of being hurt by them. They'll look to continue the ball rolling in the right direction. 1st and 10 from the Sierra 19. We're inside the final minute of the third quarter. DVC rallying to chop this deficit in half. And it's a bad snap. Visser not able to handle it. Tanavasa tried to fall onto it. We'll see if he recovered. It's a battle here, and the signal's been made by our line judge.
Looks to be the first negative play with Nick Visser in here at quarterback for the Vikings.
And so far it's been just a barrel of laughs up to this point, but another bad snap. DVC, again, somehow have, I think, had 3 or 4 snaps that have gotten away from their quarterbacks and have yet to lose possession of one. I'm going to knock on something right now because last time I said something like that, it happened. So, Visser with Sturgis-Kofer in the backfield. He drops back to pass. Here comes a little jump pass for Sturgis-Kofer. He's working his way to the 20 after the catch, and he's going to get back a few of those yards that were lost on the prior play. But it's going to be 3rd and 11 when we come back with quarter number 4. 23-7, your score here on the Vikings Sports Network.
Fourth quarter, 20.
Diablo Valley College is among the top California community colleges that can prepare you with a great education that lead to success. Start here and doors will open. Diablo Valley College, education, opportunity, success.
And welcome back to the Viking Sports Network. Start of the fourth quarter, DVC trailing 23-7 with a big third down conversion attempt in front of them. 3rd and 13 from the Sierra 22, looking to cut into this deficit. We started to see a little bit of that short passing, Colin, that you referred to back at our halftime show. Starting to see some results from that, also some lanes opening up for the running backs.
Yeah, it's been good. The DVC offenses look great on this drive with Nick Visser in there at quarterback. Comes down a big third down here in Sierra territory. Let's see what the Vikings can do right now.
We saw the wrinkle of Ravin Nasalai out in the early part of the third quarter. We've got Tanavasa seeing some more time at running back at the moment. 2 receivers to either side. They're going to motion Dominguez over to the right, get him moving. Visser rolling out to the right side, throws to Dominguez, but it's too low for him to grab it and run with it. He actually does not make the catch. And so that's going to end that drive right here. We're going to see Christopher Abbas come on looking to kick a field goal just a smidge shorter than his career long.
This will be huge for the Vikings to get some more points on the board and edge them closer to the Sierra. To Sierra.
It looks to be a 39-yard attempt here. We'll see exactly where Roman Sahagan sets up. He's actually setting up about 8 yards behind the line. He did that last time too. So it will be a 40-yard kick. This would tie Christopher Abbas's career long from the left hash mark. They send a man back to receive if necessary. This one's definitely got the leg. Does it have the aim? It does indeed. Christopher Abbas with the field goal to make it 23-10. DVC closed this to a conventional 2-score game. And we'll take a short break here before the kickoff right here on the Vikings Sports Network.
Diablo Valley College is among the top California community colleges that can prepare you with a great education that lead to success. Start here and doors will open. Diablo Valley College, education, opportunity, success.
And welcome back to the field. 14:37 left in our game tonight. DVC having cut into the Sierra lead. It's now 23-10 on the Christopher Abbas field goal, tying his career long from 40 yards away. This game, interestingly, not a conference game, although it certainly feels like it for anyone who's involved in DVC athletics. Sierra, the conference mate of DVC in pretty much every other sport, but the Vikings are a Base 6 football team, so if you're late to that party, not a conference game. Neither was the one last week against Sac City or the one next week against Delta. Here's the kickoff. That is going to drive Hayden Fay all the way back to the end zone. He'll let that fall and go out of the back. Christopher Abbas putting the boot through it.
Christopher Abbas.
So that will set up the Sierra Wolverines on their own 25-yard line. Two receivers to either side as Preston Eklund's out there. He's got, I believe that's Christian Simmons in the backfield with him. Goes in motion now to the right. Roll out to the right side, and they've got pressure coming. The hit is delivered, but the pass is complete to L.J. Nelson. Steps out of one tackle on the right sideline and scampers for the last few yards to get himself a first down.
There's a boot right by Eklund. Finds the open receiver who makes some guys miss. Advances for a first down for Sierra.
That'll put them on the 35-yard line here as the Wolverines look for a score that would make this a much, much steeper mountain to climb for the Vikings. Eklund in the gun. Here comes the pressure from the edges. They get a hit to the quarterback. That ball is probably an interception waiting to happen, but I don't think Ronnie Preston got his head around quite in time. Step for step with the receiver going up the gut.
Yeah, it was right and grasped if he saw it, but he did not see it.
Second and 10.
We still have not seen any bit of Quintin Pilcher yet in this second half.
Again, just mystifying to me. They've had 9 points in the entire chunk of time that Preston Eklund's been there, and the only touchdown drive that he was able to author got started by a blocked punt that got them going at their own, or at the DVC 11. Eklund back to pass, throws it in the flats over to the left side, and finds Josh Farr, who is taken down with authority by Tanner Cooper.
And DVC continues to put pressure on Eklund, and he continues to look for the short route.
And whereas DVC have found a great deal of success from that, the defense, especially the cornerbacks there, for as thin as that unit is, they're all very good, and they want that.
And they've improved a lot since the first half. You mentioned that they tend to always stay foot in foot with the receiver. They've done that definitely in this second half.
Tiva Maga Clements faking the blitz. They get the pressure in. Ooh, quick touch there, and Maga Clements looses the ball, and it's fallen on by the offensive lineman there. Chase Jones falling on that one, the number 74, Johnny on the spot. Maga Clements faked the initial bum rush up the middle, paused for just a second, and then restarted. That was enough to fool them, and he got a nice hard hit there after the initial rusher, Ravin Nasalai, had flown by the quarterback.
DVC continues to get pressure time and time again, and it continues to work well for them. This second half has been great with their pressure. 4th
and 16 now, and a punt to come. Mintmeyer back for it, and Dominic Dominguez awaiting it at his own 35. Do a good job of picking up the DVC pressure. That is going to fall and take a bounce at about the 45. That starts bouncing in retro, and they'll down it at the 43. So great field position for DVC and a chance to make a real dent in the Sierra advantage. 12 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter.
And with Visser going back out there, you look back at the last drive. He led them all the way down to the field, got some points, and I think it was a great move that the Vikings went to put him in at quarterback.
Yeah, just a good change of pace. Certainly somebody who they seem a little more comfortable putting in designed rollouts in particular. He's got Tanavasa back there in the backfield, trips to the left. Dominguez closest to the tackle box. They fake the give, and Visser's going to go, and he shoots right up the middle and is going to pick up 9 yards on first down. 2nd and 1, and an optimal opportunity here for a play-action fake and maybe taking a shot deep.
Looks like Visser will have to come off the field for this play because his helmet came off.
We need to verify the condition of it, so Visser comes off, and that's going to mean Dylan Graham back into the action for the Vikings.
Visser had a nice fake on that read option play. Sets him up for a 2nd and 1.
Hamilton and Alves out to the left side. Two men in the backfield with Graham. One of them's Dominguez. They're going to give it to Desmond Tanavasa. Dominguez just simply a decoy back there, and he certainly attracted enough of the attention of the Wolverines defense. Tanavasa rumbles for the first down up to the 44-yard line. Vikings rolling.
And we see Nick Visser coming back into the game.
Good bit of management there by Graham, and DVC looked to keep things going with number 15 back behind the center. Tanavasa in the backfield with him, trips to the left side. Takes the snap, quick drop, now throws it back shoulder looking for Hamilton. Good work by Trevion Shadrick Harris to track him and rake down over the arms at the moment where it doesn't become pass interference.
We haven't seen Visser take any deep shots yet this game.
The Vikings will reset 2nd and 10, looking to chop down a little of this yardage. Make 3rd down a bit more manageable. Sahagan all by himself on the bottom of your screen. He's got Jorge Moreno on him. Lockdown corner that's been denying him much of the action so far today. Two in the backfield, the handoff is to Tanavasa, and he is indeed going to rumble, pick up about 4 yards. 3rd and 6 coming up from the Sierra 40.
That 4-yard carry sets up a manageable 3rd down and 6 for the Viking offense. This could be 4-down territory. And especially with only 10 minutes on the clock, the Vikings will definitely be looking to make an impact on this drive.
And certainly from this position of the field, definitely too long for a field goal attempt and probably too short for a punt to do much good. Trips up on the left side. Visser takes the snap, rolling out to the left side. He's got Tanavasa with him. Now he's going to turn it upfield. Scampers for the first down. Diving across the line to gain. Reaching the 33.
And that play, Visser had great vision. He saw no one was open. He saw the lane for him to hit it. 1st down Vikings.
And that's a wrinkle if you've been preparing all week for Dylan Graham that you're just not quite ready for if you're the Sierra defense. Two in the backfield with Visser, Dominguez and Sturgis Kofer. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. New set of downs here. The handoff is to Sturgis Kofer, and this time they do have it wrapped up. That is number 29, Austin Bays, leading the charge on that one. Stacks him up at the line of scrimmage, maybe a loss of about a foot.
Sierra was ready for the run on that one.
Almost from the moment that the handoff was even faked, kind of the immediate thought is like, no, something else.
There was a guy in the backfield right when the ball was snapped.
Just 1 in the backfield now with Visser. It's Sturgis Kofer. 2 receivers to either side. No, excuse me, trips to the right, rather. Visser, 3-step drop, putting it down. Oh, just off the hands of Dylan Alves. Somebody we've been looking for them to get more involved in the game. He's very lucky that ball popped up, and if there had been a defender anywhere near it, it's definitely a pick, and possibly a pick with a lot of extra return yardage attached to it.
They had that set up very nicely, but it'll be interesting to see what they go with on this 3rd down and 11.
Again, as you said, if it's 4th down territory, you may think in terms of trying to knock about 6 or 7 yards off of this and make it a makeable 4th. Field goal does not do you a ton of good at this point.
1 deep safety.
Visser rolling out, has room on the right side, tries to throw to Pros. There is a flag. It's pass interference in all likelihood on somebody. The question is it on Moreno or is it on Pros? He has pointed the defense's way. And a penalty that will extend the DVC Vikings drive here. 3rd and 11 becomes a brand new set of downs. Jorge Moreno throwing Pros off of him in order to try to get position to make that interception.
What was hurting the DVC offense the whole time in the first half seems to be their best friend with Nick Visser out there at quarterback.
A turn in the tail indeed.
Football drops to the 20.
So 1st and 10 right on the 20-yard line. Do we call that red zone or not? Can you tell from here? Is the nose of it over the... Get the thumbs up from Max Agris. He says, yeah, red zone now. One man in the backfield is Sturgis Cofer. 2 receivers to either side. Visser awaiting the snap. They motion Dominguez over to the right. He's going to go against that motion. Oh, fakes the pitch and now is moving to the left side. He's managed to get through with the first line of defense and rumbles all the way down to the 10. Little shimmy shake there to shake off the first man that tried to stop him.
A nice little speed option ran by the Viking offense. Visser was reading the defensive end. He went to the running back. Visser takes it for a nice first down and goal.
From the 9. 8:21 to go and counting. Vikings looking for a major score, a major turn in tonight's game.
And Visser's legs have been huge for the Vikings tonight.
Absolutely leading them on this drive. Dropping back to pass. The pressure comes. He gets away from the first man. Avoids Austin Bays as well, trying to haul him down by the back of his jersey, and gets all the way down to the 5.
And there are those legs again.
We seem to have a Vikings player down right now. That is Joe Wells. The right tackle, 6'4" freshman out of Danville. He sat up for a moment and is now back on his back. So I think in the meanwhile we will pause, catch our breath. DVC when we come back, 2nd and goal from the 5. Trying to cut this Sierra lead in half early in the 4th quarter. to the bench under his own power. You see Carson Reichman and J.J. Hunter in. It's roughly left to go. Visser takes the snap, drops back, throwing short. Managed to get that catch with one arm, despite being wrapped up by Joshua Cannon. In fact, he was wrapped up so much that I couldn't see his number, and I don't know who it is to tell you.
It was Roman Sahagan. He was being tackled, and he grabbed it with one arm. But this flag will probably make it first down right on the 1 yard line.
It's a big difference right there. It doesn't change the yardage at all, but it would have been 3rd and goal from the 1. It's going to be 1st and goal.
The reception was made by Roman Sahagan. On the play.
So the young, keen eyes of Colin Dixon tells us it's Roman Sahagan making that. So he probably wound up more or less straight up in the air as he was getting hauled down there.
But with it being first down, it gives DVC a lot more options to go out and figure out what they want to do. It gives them more time. They have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down to figure it out.
Could try something up the middle with Sturgis Kofer. Could look for the play fake and run Visser out of it. Could go into the flats. That's been working really well. The only thing we know for sure is the DVC need to finish this. Long delay here as the referees get a few things straight. John Giajari and Ravin Nasalai coming in for DVC. Hamilton and Alves out by quite a bit. So 1st and goal from the 3. A fresh set of downs for DVC. 3 yards from getting themselves decisively back into this game. Our official winds the clock, Mr. James Decker. Sturgis Kofer directly behind. Nick Visser in the gun. It's a handoff up the middle.
Touchdown for the Vikings as it will get them within 1 score.
23-16 pending the PAT here.
And man, Nick Visser just makes what an impact to that DVC offense. First drive, get the field goal. 2nd drive, touchdown.
It does make you wonder, do you think you're going to see Quintin Pilcher when Sierra comes back out here?
That'll be interesting to see because he was the biggest guy for that offense in the first half.
Yeah, as we said, 9 points for the entire time Eklund has been in operating the Sierra offense. Pilcher working for just about 7 minutes. Hagan and Abbas gets the extra point through the uprights, and so with that, a 6-point game here at Vikings Field. 7:22 to go. DVC will be giving the ball back to Sierra in just a moment, looking for their defense to make a stand and give their offense a chance to find themselves a walk-off victory. We'll be right back here on the Vikings Sports Network. Hayden Fay and LJ Nelson back to return for Sierra College. Christopher Abbas getting ready to put this one back into play. 7:22 to go. Vikings trail by just 6. Nick Visser right now, it's been interesting. The backup quarterbacks have been the story of this game here. Their effects on the late part of the 2nd quarter and this middle of the 4th. Abbas belts this one down inside the 5, taken at the 3 by LJ Nelson. Nelson working his way to the right side, getting good north-south running. Spins out of one tackle, now works his way to the 31 and is thrown down there out of bounds. So 1st and 10 to come here from the apparently the 31-yard line. The DVC defense looking to stand tall. Hear the call coming from the crowd. Come on, defense, let's score. In fact, DVC's first 2 touchdowns of the season were defensive. It's a strip sack by Nasalai and a Tiantre Pierce return, followed by a Tanner Cooper pick 6.
So it looks like Wildcat to start.
Okay, so Christian Simmons ready to take this ball direct from the center. Hayden Fay in motion to the left. Referees stop play, and it appears to be a timeout. I think Sierra College actually taking the timeout. I thought perhaps it might be Mike Darr wanting a moment to prepare for this, but instead Sierra apparently not liking what they were seeing. So we'll head back to a quick break. We'll be back, 7:13 to go. Sierra starting a drive from their own 31.
2 timeouts.
And welcome back to the Vike, 23-17. DVC trailing by 6. They were down by as much as 16. A 40-yard Christopher Abbas field goal and a Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer 3-yard touchdown run at the end of a couple of drives led by backup quarterback Nick Visser have gotten the Vikings right back into it. So 1st and 10, they thought about a Wildcat. And now it is Pilcher back into the game. He takes the first, no, excuse me, it's Simmons. It's still the Wildcat. He manages to work his way through a couple of small holes. And we've got another penalty coming up here for DVC. 2 flags, perhaps for the clapping. So that might be offsetting unsportsmanlike penalties. We saw DVC's, I think, might have been Zane Cribb, throw a player to the ground, but the response from the Sierra man may have drawn the ire of the officials as well, clapping to the sidelines for it. Let's see what they've got to tell us. James Decker on the mic. Okay, so after all that, it appears they have moved the ball forward to the 39. It's the gain. Oh, okay, that's the gain of 8 from Christian Simmons earlier. So I was going to say no harm, no foul, but actually 2 fouls and no harm.
2nd and 2 after the offsetting penalty.
So 2nd and 2 here from the 39.
They look to still be in the Wildcat right now.
Trying all sorts of new things. Hayden Fay going over to have a quick chat with Christian Simmons, the running back who was about to take the direct snap. Coach Darr getting the explanation from James Decker there. They wind the clock, 7 minutes exactly left in our 4th quarter. Snap taken by Simmons, tries to work his way through traffic, does not quite make it to the line to gain. It's going to be 3rd and exceedingly short.
Defensive line with a good push right there, stuffing them and forcing the 3rd down.
They need the 41. Substitution on the DVC defense, Kyrius Duckett out. Dion Falau back in.
Wildcat continues for Sierra.
3rd and about 2 feet. Fay in motion from left to right. Simmons is going to try to run through him, and he slips and falls down, fallen on top of by Robin Nasalai.
A huge stop by the DVC defense on that third down, forcing a fourth down.
Now we'll see. They, at least for a moment, were pausing, but no, here comes Joseph Mintmeyer. And so with a little under 6 minutes to go, DVC down 6 are about to get the ball back.
What a play.
Simmons might have had a step there to do something, but just lost his footing as he tried to kick into turbo.
And the DVC defense had a ton of pressure on him. Even if he did not fall, I don't believe he would have made the line to gain.
Dominguez back at his own 27, waiting for the Mintmeyer punt. Here it comes. That one falling right at about the 40. DVC needs to get out of the way and make sure that the ball doesn't hit them. It takes a 10-yard roll all the way down to the 30. That'll be good for a 34-yard punt. And that is where DVC will start this drive. 5:22 left in this fourth quarter. Nick Visser, the big story right now. So we do hope you'll join us. Our next live stream, by the way, Friday the 18th of October against Chabot College. DVC are going to be at Stockton next week, and then on a bye following that. Chabot will be the conference opener against our neighbors from Hayward. Visser with one man in the backfield and trips to the left. Fakes the handoff, then fakes the pitch. Now he's going to go over to Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer rolling out of the backfield, and he can't quite haul it in. Interesting design there. He faked the handoff, then faked a rollout to one side, then rolled out to the other and tried to find Sturgis-Kofer. It was on. He's not able to finish it.
I think Sierra was expecting the run there, so it was a nice fake, but the drop pass sets him back, 2nd and 10.
Two in the backfield now, Dominguez and Sturgis-Kofer. Sahagan at the bottom of your screen is the lone wideout on the right. Visser handing off. Rolling off the right tackle is Tyrell Sturgis-Kofer. Steps through one tackle. Now working his way down. There is a flag on the play, but Sturgis-Kofer is going to rumble all the way down for a gain of 16. Now we've got to see if it stands.
Holding.
And it will not.
A great run by Sturgis-Kofer, but it will be going back, and it'll be a very second and very long for the Vikings.
I'm sure you can hear the Pleasant Hill faithful not terribly excited about that. .507 to go in a very tight game, 2nd and 22 as they drop back. Doesn't seem to be quite right. They're at the 22, 2nd and 18, my mistake. Trips to the left side, Tanavasa into the game in the backfield. Visser, a short pass out to the left side that is short of Dominguez. And it's going to be 3rd now and very long.
He had him there for him, but he short-armed it. Left it short for Dominguez. He couldn't catch it right into the turf.
The DVC defense, who have done yeoman's work here, holding Sierra scoreless since halftime, get themselves ready to potentially be called upon again. But first, the Vikings looking to convert a long 3rd down. 3rd and 18 from their own 22. Tanavasa directly behind. Visser trips to the left side. Visser dropping back. Good protection. Throws it over the left side. He's got Dominguez, but it's going to be short of the line to gain. They pick up about 13 down to the 35. They needed 18.
A great play call, and it goes right to the DVC quarterback's favorite receiver. Whether it was Visser or whether it was Graham, he is the guy that they've been going to all game.
Yeah, like we said, had just 4 receptions in the first 2 games, and then he's had 10 last week against Sac City, and has stacked up a bunch of them tonight. We don't have live stats. All I know is it's a big number.
Yes, sir.
Timeout taken, I think, by the Wolverines before the punt. So they have 1 left. We'll take this opportunity to pause for a moment. 4:12 to go. DVC about to punt away to Sierra. They'll need their defense to come up big one more time. And welcome back after the timeout. Sierra trying to anticipate the DVC fake punt. Well, they've just removed any artifice from this completely. They are now coming back out with their offense on 4th and 5. A monster of a conversion here for DVC. They need this. Trips to the left side. Justin Zimmer into the game for the first time today. Nick Visser waiting for the snap. Dominguez motioned out. It's an empty backfield now. 5 wide. Visser back, throws over the middle. Caught just past the sticks. And it is Justin Zimmer, the 5'11 freshman out of Benicia, making a huge catch for DVC.
Enters right into the game and makes an impact right away. The 4th down risk is a great call, and DVC is in business, driving down Sierra.
Who needs a fake punt? Just be honest about your intentions, right? DVC 1st and 10 from the 41, looking to keep this drive going. 3 minutes, 40 seconds and counting left in our game. 2 in the backfield, 2 receivers down at the bottom of your screen are Hamilton and Owls. Visser waiting on the snap. The give is up the middle to Tyrell Sturgis. Kofer gets through the first line of defense. Picks up about 2. Clock continues to run.
The linebackers were right there to meet him a couple yards after the line of scrimmage. About 3 minutes and 9 seconds left.
Enough time to continue with the short passing game and the runs at this point.
And they have all 3 timeouts.
That is key. Sierra down to 1. If the Vikings manage to get a score, Sierra are going to have to work without the ability to stop the clock more than once. Visser rolling out. He sees a lane. There goes Visser. He's got open field in front of him. Down to the 30. Down to the 25. Tackled from behind by not Tyron Shedra Harris. It doesn't matter. Nick Visser, a huge run.
And that's what I talked about earlier, the great vision from Visser. He saw the lane, he hit it, he had an acceleration of speed, and he got that first down, and we are in business.
35-yard run all the way down to the 33. 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go. Visser with an empty backfield again. Dominguez, if you're looking for him, is the second receiver from the bottom on your right. He's going to go out to the Dominguez in the end zone. Almost picked off by Moreno.
Interesting play call to start off in that first down. I was thinking they were going to continue to run the ball, but they took the deep shot, almost intercepted, but luckily for the Vikings, they get another chance at second down.
Tight game here in Pleasant Hill. Saturday night action, 2:03 to go, a one-score game. Tanavasa stays in the game in the backfield. Visser, the 6'4 freshman out of Sebastopol, has had a huge effect on tonight's game, looking to take the DVC Vikings home. Trips to the left side, Dominguez over there. Visser dropping back, going to the lone receiver on the right. It's Sahagan, and he just does overthrow him. It's going to be 3rd and 10 from the 23.
I continue to question why they haven't tried to run the ball. There's still 2 minutes on the clock. They have all 3 timeouts. They've taken 2 deep shots. That is not what's worked for them so far.
Certainly 4-down territory at this point, if ever there were such a thing. So perhaps looking for something a little shorter, maybe a run up the gut, something to try to shave some yards off of that eventual 4th down conversion.
Maybe get Visser moving using his legs.
It certainly worked so far. 3 to the left for Nick Visser. Sturgis Kofer back in the game behind him. It's going to be a give to Sturgis Kofer. He finds a lane to the right side, down to the 20, down to the 15, tripped up just barely shy of the first down marker.
That was a great block by Roman Sahagan.
Joshua Cannon just managing to get his fingertips to the shoelaces of Sturgis Kofer. Timeout taken here. It is going to be 4th and about 1.5 yards.
Timeout DVC.
We will take that timeout with them. 1:40 to go. The Vikings, a monster 4th down conversion coming when we come back on the Viking Sports Network. And back to live action. 4th and about 1.5 yards. Visser with Sturgis Kofer in the backfield. Trips to his left.
Biggest play of the game right here.
There's the snap. The give is to Sturgis Kofer, looking to push his way to the first down marker. He reaches for it, and I fear he is short. He got down to the 14.5. DVC needed it just across the 14.
First down for Sierra College.
So DVC with 2 timeouts left. That might be enough for a 3-and-out stop and a Hail Mary, but that is what it's going to take for DVC to come out of this with some joy tonight.
I like the play call, but they got stuffed right in the middle.
In fact, as I see the spot now, it looks even more like Sturgis Kofer was about 1.5 feet shy of the chains.
We'll need another big defensive stop right here for the Vikings.
They come out with Preston Eklund back. No, excuse me, Pilcher back in now. They hand off to Christian Simmons. He gets away from the first man, but dragged down from behind by Dion Falau. No gain on that. DVC take their second timeout. 1 minute, 23 seconds left. And it is indeed Quintin Pilcher back into the game, but not in a situation where he can try to do much of anything dangerous. Have to be very conservative here, although certainly the threat of his legs or the threat of his deep ball is something that can keep DVC a little bit more honest than they would be otherwise, selling out to try to stop the run here.
The defense had great pursuit on that tackle. They almost lost him, but they stuck with him. Had the nice tackle, takes the next timeout, and we have 1:25 left.
Minute 25 remaining in the fourth.
As we said, a story of backup quarterbacks tonight. In the second quarter, the game opened up by the arrival of Quintin Pilcher. DVC had just made it 9-7 after getting their first touchdown. Pilcher, 2 quick hit touchdowns, one with his feet, one through the air. And then for DVC, after holding this game in check, holding it at that 23-7 scoreline for most of the third quarter, the insertion of Nick Visser, making all the difference. Dangerous with his feet, dangerous with the aim on his passes. He's had a few mishits here and there, but opened up lanes for Sturgis Kofer, opened up lanes for himself, and nearly did bring the Vikings all the way home. There may still be time.
His last drive was the only drive that the Vikings did not score on with him at quarterback.
Star in the making here. There's a run up the middle by Christian Simmons. He will be dragged down. That's going to be Devin Thomas leading the charge on that tackle. Another timeout. Just 5 seconds go away here. DVC have spent their last. So doing the math right now, if they're able to stop them on third down, figure another 5 seconds bleed off. 40 for the play clock. Brings you down to about 30 when the punt leaves the foot of Joseph Mintmeyer at that point. So that's what DVC are looking to work with.
DVC needs to continue to bring that pursuit. They had great pursuit on that last play. These first 2 downs, they've done great. They got to keep stuff in the line. Hopefully there's no bootleg or anything like that coming forward.
And of course, if you're Sierra, that's the thought, is do you continue to go up the middle? Do you consider a pass, knowing you might be able to surprise DVC with it, even though, of course, the danger is you stop the clock? All things to consider. All things being discussed in those huddles. Whistle to the mouth of the referee, and he's going to bring the teams back out into their formations. 78 seconds left in our game. DVC trailing 6. Last chance saloon here. They need a stop. If Sierra get the first down, it'll be victory formation. And a so long for now. If DVC can get the stop.
I'm intrigued to see if a pass might be coming here.
One man in the backfield. They motion Imani Kareem. Now he goes back the other way. Quintin Pilcher out on the run to the right side. They throw, tipped, and knocked away by Zane Cribb. And the only thing that Cribb is probably frustrated about is he had a chance to actually pull that in. And I believe his own frustration at himself has led to some demonstrations that may end up being a 15-yard penalty. some thoughts up here in the press box.
31 breaking up that pass play.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on Tiantre Pierce. Showboating after the tip pass and the gigantic stop. And that is how our game is going to end. That penalty gets Sierra the first down. And it's going to be a couple of kneel downs. And the clock will expire.
Penalty moves the ball to the 28-yard line. It's a first down for Sierra.
Just an unbelievable way to end a game here. DVC make the monster play and have it taken away from them. Or more accurately, perhaps, given back to Sierra.
It was the story of the whole game, the penalties. Kept moving them back, and in a time where they didn't need it. Hits them where it hurts.
I'll be honest, Colin, I liked it better when our story was all about backup quarterbacks making good and we'd stopped seeing this sort of thing, but that is going to do it. So again, a reminder, our next live stream here on the Viking Sports Network is going to be on Friday, the 18th of October. That'll be at 7 p.m. here in Pleasant Hill. DVC will be having their conference opening day against Chabot College. Before that, they'll be at San Joaquin Delta next Saturday at 1 p.m. And they'll be at least in the vicinity if you want to go follow them to San Francisco the week after that game against Chabot. They'll be facing City College at 1 p.m. that day as well. And we've got another flag thrown here with 25 seconds left. I'm trying to do our final news and notes. Another unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And they have ejected number 24, Ronnie Preston. And Ravi Nasalai needs to watch out because he's doing some sarcastic clapping, and we've already seen what that can get you here in this game. And they've sent everybody to the sidelines. Interesting to see here. I don't know if they're just going to ask for a 25-second runoff and put this to an end. So a controversial and very restless ending to what was an incredibly exciting night here in Pleasant Hill.
Especially the second half was great. Visser coming in. It was great for the DVC offense, but unfortunately this is how it has to end.
And they've started the clock running again here. They move the ball to the 40, but it's all academic at this point. Play clock running, but there are fewer seconds on the scoreboard clock than there are on the play clock. So that's going to be it for us tonight. And so as we turn over to plan for Stockton and plan for another live stream in 3 weeks against Chabot, we take stock of what we saw here tonight. I think we've mostly summed it up. What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, I mean, the story of the game, as we mentioned, was the backup quarterbacks, but the other story was the penalties. And I mean, it's tough to see it happen.
So a little gutted. We prepare to sign off here. We appreciate you following us from the comfort of your own home. We encourage you, if you have the ability, to come on out and see one of these games here live in Pleasant Hill. It's a great atmosphere. We've had a real good time here. But if you can't, we hope to see you again here on the Viking Sports Network on Friday the 18th. Again, for Oscar Martinez on the camera work, Max Agris at the controls, and my color man here, Colin Dixon, in his, I believe it's your broadcast debut, is that right?
It is, it is.
All right, well, hit him up there on the comments. He did a dynamite job tonight, and my pleasure getting a chance to call a football game. I don't think I said match or pitch or nil once. I'm a soccer guy, so I'm going to claim my small victories right here. So it's been a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you again soon here on the Viking Sports Network. Again, your final score, Sierra 23, DVC 17.